करना चाहिए
Good morning. Good.
Good morning, Ochintya.
You can hear me well?
Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm able to hear now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. कैसे हैं आप? All well at your end, sir, Ochintya ji?
Yeah. Good. Under the circumstances, as they say.
Great to have you. Good morning, Pooja ji. Good morning, Thiren ji.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning to all of you.
Hey, everyone.
Pan sir has also joined us.
Acha. Good morning, Pan sahab.
I
And
request
Thiren
Pan
ji,
sir
I've sent
to-
you a message. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thiren ji. Pan sahab is already out now, looks like. Okay. Okay. Where's our team? Rest of the guys. So we will. Ochintya, we will wait for at least. Anyways, we have 5-6 minutes to go, but we will still wait for I think a couple of more minutes so that people can join in.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Sanjay ji, you have logged in through Dhirendra ji's link. It's showing Dr. Dhirendra Kumar.
Now it's okay, Dr. Pooja.
No, it's still showing Dr. Dhirendra Kumar.
Oh, he has given the same link in the both the emails, no? Okay, I'll ask Amrita. Amrita is there. He has given two links, same links for both.
So I'm sending you a link on the Zoom chat.
Hello,
Hello.
Mr. Sankal.
Yeah, I'm sending you.
Please share me a link in WhatsApp.
Yeah, on the Zoom chat I'm sharing, sir.
Okay.
Sankalp, is the session available live on the IISF portal?
So it will start by 10:30. Like by 10:30 it will go live.
I think you can make live a bit earlier so that people can join in. Nah?
Okay, so I'm making it.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Satyaji, Dr. Satya. Subodh here.
Morning.
Good morning.
See everybody, lot of old friends. How are you doing, Ochantya?
Hi. Hi, Satya. How are you? Good.
Long time.
Yeah, I know.
Great, great. That's good to that, Chindya and Satya, you guys know each other. I'm sure you would have, but just
Long time.
not to my information, at least.
Long time. Oh,
Yeah.
this world is very small.
Yes, yes. So we will wait for a couple of more minutes. I think basically it's just people are just still joining in, right? So while we wait, I have ISF team, which is India International Science Festival team for New Age Technology show already on the screen. Dr. Sanjay Burdeji is a principal scientist in CSIR. Dr. Pooja Ghosh is associate professor in IT Delhi. Dr. Dhirendra Kumar is running his own firm, and my team Amit and Amreshwar. So we're delighted to have you. I think Dr. Shiva has already joined. Good morning, Dr. Shiva.
Subodh, what is the format you want to have?
Well, basically, we will, I'll start with welcoming all of you, and then I'll request Ochintya ji for his address. And then I'll open up, kind of panel discussions, but it won't be a panel discussions because I would go one by one, with each of you, just to have your initial thoughts. If time permits, then we will take some questions at the end. So it's like it won't be a panel discussion in the format the way we have mentioned it, right? So Professor Ramesh Ranganathan, he has some meeting at 11:30, so he wants to quite early, so I may have to take him first. Otherwise, I'll go with the order which I mentioned.
Sure.
Yeah.
And each person talks for about 3 to 5 minutes. What is that time?
Roughly we have kept around 10 minutes for each of you to talk. And I think given the last 2 days experiences, we have seen that we have always overshot, so it's okay. It's okay. Okay.
Presentation, no presentation. PPT allowed?
It's all your call. I think if you want to walk through presentation, it's always good because we have an audience which is young students as well, right? So they might connect easily sometimes with the presentation. Yeah. Dr. Shiva, if you're able to hear me now.
Yeah, I am able to hear you. I was not able to connect it through my headphones, so that's why I'm playing around a bit. So
Okay. Yeah, but we can hear you loud and clear.
you can hear loud and clear, so then I will not have these things. Yeah.
Yeah, we are able to hear you loud and clear. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Shiva, for joining in. Yeah. You have beautiful virtual background, looks like, huh?
Me,
Dr. Shiva.
This is all virtual only.
That's nice. Okay. So we will wait for, I think we will just wait for a few more minutes before we start. Okay. Let people join in. Sankalp, is it live now on IISF portal?
Yes, sir. It is live now.
Okay, great. So who's checking with Taran and Professor Ramesh Ramanathan? Ramesh Ramanathan and Taranjeet. Dr. Dhiren, is Mr. Pant joining in? Tomorrow mute speakers. You're not audible. You mute, Dr. Dhirendra.
Yeah, he's joining in few minutes.
Okay.
1 or 2 minutes. Yeah.
Well, I think we may start now. Very good morning to everyone. Respected distinguished speakers on the screen. Shri Achintya Sharma, ex-Vice President, Samsung R&D India, ex-SBU Head of Motorola India, my first company as well. Shri Sanjeev Keshkar, he's just joining in, Chief Executive Arvind Consultancy. Dr. Satya Gupta, Chairman, ISA. Professor Ramesh Ranganathan, I think he's just yet to join, Triple IT Hyderabad. Dr. P. Shivakumar, Managing Director, ESI MedTech Solutions, Sri Taranjit Singh Bhamra, CEO and founder of Agnex Technologies. Believe he will just join in a couple of minutes. Mr. IR Pant, MD Telecom Network Solutions. My team of coordinators from NATS 2020, Sri Sanjay Bodeji, Principal Scientist, CSIR, Dr. Pooja Ghosh, Associate Professor, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar, Executive Director of BLD Institute, Dr. Ambeshwar Rai, Sri Amit Verma, and all the August audience consisting of invited guests from academia, startup community, industry, students, my colleagues and fellow STPINs from across all India. Namaste and very good morning to everyone. Today again, we are virtually gathered here on third day of India International Science Festival 2020 to ignite the young minds and young innovators across length and breadth of our country. And this is to celebrate the spirit of science. IISF 2020 as Director Startup and Innovation Promotion Division, Software Technology Parks of India, and the Principal Coordinator of New Age Technology Show 2020. It is a matter of great privilege and honor to bring this special event called NATS 2020. This event has been curated very clearly to carry out deliberations, discussions, showcases, and keynote addresses on various topics of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, Internet of Things, 5G, ESDM, and to basically all this discussion we are having last 2 days, and today we are going concluding day. This is to further encourage innovation in the field of emerging technologies. IISF 2020 is the largest congregation in the world of young students, scientists, and technocrats from across India to celebrate, to exchange knowledge and ideas, to drive innovations, and for the betterment of people, and to chart new frontiers fueled by innovation across all aspects of science. Day before yesterday, in his inaugural address, Honorable Prime Minister spoke about country's strength in the form of data, demography, demand, and democracy to achieve world-class scientific solutions. And he also made a clarion call to India's scientific community to share and grow with the best of the global talent and innovate for the world-class products. And that's the aspiration we have to get into. Through NATS 2020, we are encouraging young innovators and startups. That's why we are showcasing, not just the industry veterans, industry stalwarts, but also bringing in academic representation from academia and startups by and large. Today, new age technologies are expected to revolutionize various sectors, including manufacturing, supply chain, entertainment, education, healthcare, agriculture, retail. I think there's no sector which is left untouched from the emerging technology perspective. The next decade is crucial for India to take a lead in terms of globally emerging as a technology innovation hub. As I said, last 2 days, we had 12 eminent speakers, along with showcases of 12 innovative solutions powered by various technologies like AI, ML, data analytics, AR, VR, MR. Today, we are going to hear from 6 eminent speakers again, and we will also witness 5 innovation showcases in this session. So I welcome everyone, and I welcome my distinguished panelists, distinguished speakers on the screen. Now, India is a scientific community. India's scientific community has done path-breaking research. India's tech industry has been at the forefront of solving global problems, and as a country, we aspire to do more. The fact that what is called science today becomes a technology of tomorrow, an engineering solution later. At NATS 2020, we have brought the session which has speakers across all the 3 spectrums. The next 15 years will be the era of hyper innovation, and India can leapfrog to $10 trillion economy between 2030 and 2035. We have 1 billion people as digital nomads by 2035 in the world, and the innovation around key technologies will play a very, very pivotal role. Transformation of India is already happening under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. However, innovation, entrepreneurship, and startups are the key for this transformation, and as a key focus coming from none other than Honorable Prime Minister himself. With a vision to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat and global welfare through science and technology and innovation, the theme of IISF 2020 aligned with this particular vision of Honorable Prime Minister, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Innovation is the fuel, I think everybody understands, is for ameliorating the socio-economic competitiveness of developing nations like India. India's innovation ecosystem has heavily relied upon academic sector so far. Today, this academic sector and the confluence of academic with the right startups and right industries coming up, the innovation has taken a next stage already. Today, India is, as per the Global Innovation Index, India is among the top 10 nations considering research, publications, etc. However, there's a long way to go still. Within STPI, we have taken a special emphasis in terms of growing a collaborative network where all the three pillars which are responsible for the innovation, which is government, academia, industries are coming together. We are establishing various centers of excellence across India, across each and every emerging technology. We have already opened 12 centers of excellence, and we are on the path of opening another 11 centers of excellence. However, these centers of excellence will become innovation hub once these kind of deliberations come together. With this emerging technologies and across the way we are seeing already, today we are going to discuss on a very, very important technology segment, which is Internet of Things powered by 5G, and also the ESDM sector, which has been always a very challenging and a very important sector. So today we have set of speakers covering IoT, 5G and ESDM, and probably we'll also touch upon other related issues when we talk about products and solutions on these three. IoT, as I think everybody understands, is very clearly is a next big wave happening already. Today, human-to-human interaction was possible, communication happening, but we are talking about an era when machine-to-machine communication is becoming a reality already. And when somebody talks about 5G, I think this machine-to-machine communication will actually grow to a humongous amount of human devices altogether. I mean, just to give a perspective, we are talking about maybe the internet brought in 1 billion users worldwide on the platform. And then what we are talking about now is almost 30 billion internet connected devices which are talking to each other. And this is something which we'll deliberate and explore today again through our eminent speakers and also our keynote speaker as eminent speakers. With this, I extend once again my warm welcome and greetings to all the speakers on this prestigious platform of 6th India International Science Festival, which is being organized virtually this year. I would now like to invite Sri Ochintya Sharma. Ochintya Sharma, as I said, is ex-Vice President, Samsung R&D, is ex-SBU Head of Motorola India. Ochintya brings 3 decades in the areas of wireless communication, high-tech software and executive management. He is fortunate to have been an active participant in some of the defining technologies of our times: cellular communication, GPS navigation, mobile internet, smartphones, Internet of Things, and AI. I think he has seen the evolution of this whole telecom sector over his last 3 decades of his career. His professional alignment includes, heading the Samsung R&D Center, and also he has held various positions and leading positions at Surf Technologies. He has been a global head of engineering company Binatone and head of wireless internet SBU Motorola India. He has been spearheading the startups, various startup activities across various segments of ESDM sector, including semiconductors. Currently, he is the founder of Oxon Consulting, where he offers consulting services to companies, entrepreneurs in the areas of new technology development. He is also mentor for our Center of Excellence Initiative of Northeast. He is Chevron Rolls-Royce Science and Innovation Leadership Fellow from the University of Oxford. He obtained his master's degree from the Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, and his BTech from National Institute of Technology, Warangal. I, along with my complete team, is very, very privileged to have you, Ochintya, today on this platform. So over to you, Ochintya.
Thank you, Subodh. Namaste. Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to be in such a platform with such an eminent co-panelist team. And so thank you again for hosting me and giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with a large set of people and especially youngsters. As you have mentioned yesterday, there's a large student community who is a part of this program. So it'll be very nice to interact with them. So thank you to STPI, thank you to the India International Science Festival, the whole NAT team. So let's start. So I have a presentation. Sometimes it's easy that way for people to even remember a few things. So let me try to share that. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. So, in all this communication that Subodh had with me, he was always talking about IoT. So, IoT is, everybody knows what IoT is. So I thought, why not look at other views of IoT? And especially in the context of an event like something that is spearheaded by the Prime Minister himself of India International Science Festival. So why not look at, what are the other possibilities of IoT in terms of India, its opportunities for tomorrow, the innovations and the technology that goes with IoT. So, my address today is, of course, focused on IoT, but then I'd also give you a little context of what I interpret IoT as and the directions and the shifts that I see. Sometimes it is easy to appreciate a continuum of a technology like any big technology only when we see the changes, the inflections that happen, because otherwise it looks like one big animal in motion. So I'd like to bring some personal perspectives of what I think are special about what's happening in IoT. So, of course, all of us have worked in some SCADA system, some data acquisition system, all of this, and even before internet existed. But what has made it now so much more powerful is that it is almost has become like a nervous system for the physical universe for all of us. So it is as central in collecting information and sensing that and using this as just like our central nervous system does. So if you look from that perspective, we have sensors, we have motors, and then we have a central processing unit like our brain. So IoT, the world of IoT can be very easily modeled like a nervous system. I know that there are a lot of today people with background in IoT in this audience, so it may be a little preaching to the choir, but we also have a lot of students and young entrepreneurs. And I thought giving a perspective of what the components of IoT are, I think will help to appreciate the rest of the discussion. So as you can see on the left, we have what would be the sensing devices. So that's the play of semiconductors, play of hardware, probes, different kind of things that happen. You have pH meters, you have things that can look at chemical analysis, and all of these need to be collected. And then there could be some interim processes which locally control those the ambience there. And all this needs to be then communicated back. And this is the role of low power, high bandwidth, low latency, these kind of communication protocols. And then it comes to some other place where you have the entire computation paradigm platforms that look at this data as they come in or data as they set in. And then we have different kind of analytics that you apply to this data. Some of it is real time, some of it is over time. And then you have a set of applications that finally takes this data into something meaningful for the customer, right? So this is the overall world of IoT. Now, what interests me is this concept of variety. And this is where, it's a challenge, but, we understand, and I'm a perennial optimist, that every challenge is definitely an opportunity. And that is where opportunity for business, opportunity for innovation, opportunity for, doing something significant. So when I say variety, and this is where IoT professionals, we have the biggest struggle. There's so much of difference between, let's say you have an IoT in industrial furnace from IoT in somewhere in the agricultural sector. Even if it is, you're measuring the same thing, even if you're measuring temperature, the temperature that you measure in the ambient condition in a rubber plantation is so different from the temperature that you measure inside a automobile engine or inside a furnace. So there is nothing that you can generalize in IoT, and that is a big difficulty. Everything has to be in the context of its application. And this makes, I would say, opens up two interesting areas. One, that there cannot be monopoly of anything. You cannot have one expert determining everything. So that gives us, as entrepreneurs, as innovators, immense opportunity. That if we know our area well, we have a great ability to contribute there. The other important thing, and that is large, and especially in the context of a meeting like this, where we have the whole triad of the government, academia, and industry, is because of the variety, there is need for collaboration. So without collaboration, without people with different kind of expertise coming together, it is impossible to solve a problem. And largely because of this issue, that even if you have an expert in, let's say, a very, very special area of chemical analysis. And that person has to now work with an agricultural scientist. That person has to work with a wireless expert. Now, all of these people have to come together. And I think some of the initiatives that STPI is taking, and especially I know of the Octane program that we are doing in Northeast, I think the idea is to get in these kind of people with varied expertise. And that is what will actually click. Because if you just leave one young engineer to solve this problem, it's just impossible. And it'll be a half-hearted attempt, and it'll be pretty frustrating. And that we have seen over time. And because of these initiatives now, we believe that this tyranny of variety can be handled. The other unique, or not unique, I would say, but special thing about IoT is what I call the agony of scale. When you try to solve a problem, let's say inside a refrigerator or inside a home, it's of a different scale. But then you take it to a neighborhood, it's another scale. You take it to a city, it's another scale. You take it to a large region, it's another scale. Now, although the overall paradigm seems similar, that you have sensors and you have computation, you have analysis, but because of the scale and the scope, everything changes. So a person, an enterprise who's trying to, let's say, solve a problem of agri-tech for a pond, okay, a fishery, and he's trying to figure out what to do with the ash content, because nearby there is a cement factory, okay, and that ash seems to be coming and depositing in his pond. These kind of issues are real issues, right? And I have seen some of these issues personally. And then there is the fish of two different kinds. Their need for oxygens are different. Oxygen levels are different. Now you have probes and you have all these kind of things that you set up. We know that there are applications available, very efficient methods now already in place. Now, but if you do it for one pond, it's very different from doing a set of ponds. It's very different from doing for all the fishery activities that are going around in all of Assam, for example. And then if you want to take care of what is happening in some place in Andhra Pradesh, some place in Kashmir, and some place in some other place, and you have to now integrate all of this data, it's another story. So although it looks from a purely, if I draw it in a piece of paper and try the different blocks, this look identical. But in the details, and when you go down to the scale that you're trying to solve, they become so much more complex. Again, this is a great opportunity. So any industry or any activity, human endeavor, becomes so much more dominant and so much more powerful when it becomes a convergence of multiple things. And that is why IoT has become so much more, all pervasive. It is because it is not one technology. Although we keep on talking about IoT, if you look at it, is a combination of all of these things put together. So you have to have mobile internet, the whole concept of sensors, semiconductors, and there's a lot of things that my co-panelists after this will talk about, I guess, in terms of the semiconductor industry, how that is evolving rapidly to take care of the whole paradigms of IoT. Then low power compute, and compute at that position, at that site. So this is becoming so much more important. Efficient wireless, now Subodh talked about 5G, and how wireless, not just in terms of bandwidth. Bandwidth may be a lesser requirement, and so I shouldn't say that, because in some context, the bandwidth is important. But in terms of power, in terms of just being secure, all of these things matter so much. Of course, AI, is all pervasive now. I'll talk about a little more about the context of AI in IoT a little later. But then the whole paradigm of cloud and now fog computing, where the computing happens between the edge and the cloud, right? So you need to have the computing paradigms everywhere, at the edge, in between the edge and the cloud, and finally at the cloud. So all of these become so much more relevant. So when we look at IoT, each of these things have to evolve at the same rate, at the same pace, and we'll have to get tied to each other. So when we are looking at making a successful IoT ecosystem to be, really vibrant, we have to pay attention to all of these. And that is why it becomes so much more complex. That is why it requires, a galaxy of people like, the one we have today, where all of us put our heads together and see which of these things maybe is not keeping the pace or not getting to be as accessible to our entrepreneurs or to our students, and then see how do we enable that. So this is the one picture of IoT. And the other important thing, and this is where I want to spend a little more time, is as we looked at the whole space of IoT. I mean, I've been now personally working in this field for about 8 years maybe, and it looks to be everything is happening in a certain way, right? When you're in it, like when people do not know whether you have gained your weight or lost your weight, then suddenly an old friend like Satya comes and says that, hey, you seem to have lost weight, right? So suddenly when you see this change, that is when you know that something is happening. And this is very important as both policymakers and as well as implementers, that what is the change that we see in this world? If you notice that there is this, if you look at e-commerce or the other big applications or other forces, like in terms of social media, some of these things, the direction is completely the opposite. There were earlier tangible differentiators, and people started talking of, no, there are intangibles now. Whereas in the IoT, as you start talking to customers, they are looking for tangible differentiators. You cannot go back and say that, hey, I will do something for you that will be of value. They're not going to listen to you. We have to be very, very precise in our communication to the customers that, yes, I'll help your bottom line this way, I'll help your top line this way, or I'll improve efficiency by this percentage, I'll stop wastage by this much, or something like that. So people are now demanding tangible differentiators in the case of IoT. This is one significant thing. Enough of they're saying, okay, peace of mind is good, but tell me, what does the peace of mind really mean? The other interesting thing which is happening, and this is by design in the case of IoT, is, as I said, you have so much of diversity and so much of variety. So people are looking for very specific and convergent services. So in my context, in my tea garden, in my pond, in my clinic, okay, or in my furnace, tell me what you can help, right? Giving a very generic solution is not helping people, because they are looking for tangible differentiators and they're looking for tangible benefits. The other very significant thing that customers are asking is in terms of preventive and prescriptive. And it's pretty obvious that if somebody has a cauliflower farm, and if you tell him that this was the wastage by looking at all the parameters, I think that's post facto. It's no good to the person. He can say, I can make out myself that all my cauliflower is rotten. But if there is a way by which we can tell, by looking at all the parameters that our sensors pick up, saying that your cauliflower may rot or will rot with this kind of percentage, okay, predictability, and this is what you need to do in a month's time, that is the value. And that's true for everything, right? Automotive, if you can tell that your brake, whatever will fail, if you go ahead with this thing and you need to get it replaced in 3 months' time, or say, I have 3 months, that means, right? Instead of spending it now, I'll spend it after 3 months. So these kind of prescriptive and preventive analytics is what is difficult, is definitely difficult, because you have to be absolutely accurate, and accuracy, latency, all of these factors do come in. But people are now looking at more and more preventive and prescriptive analytics. The other interesting thing that is happening, and that is largely driven by the semiconductor capability, is on edge intelligence. And many of us who have been in this industry for some time, there was this massive, proliferation of platforms some time back. Everybody had a platform. If you're in the IoT business, you're creating a platform, and which gets in data and all of that. But now the shift is on how you do things at the edge. And this is changing the paradigm, because now you're looking at how you will deal with small data, not big data, data that is contextual, that data that is relevant, small footprint, using paradigms like low code, no code. These kind of technologies are getting to be more and more in vogue. I don't know what will, very difficult to predict and shouldn't predict future of the directions of technology. What will prevail, we don't know. But these are the directions which you'd see because edge and even on device. So if you can do some computation on the probe itself, and that can take care of the real-time decision making. So imagine artificial intelligence now being brought all the way to that small device, the small probe. But there are different paradigms of technology that makes that possible. But it has to be done with a certain amount of accuracy and reliability that is really, really meaningful to the customer. So with this, you have now just not IoT. So the word large IoT is gone, more or less, right? Because you have to solve at the context of that industry. So you have now what you call IO of industrial things, IO of, or actually in the case of industrial, the I is brought earlier, so industrial IoT. And then you have medical things, military things, agricultural things, automotive things, all of this. Now, as I said, because of these kind of specific needs, customers are more demanding in the sense that they would ask you, why, if I have a human being, if I have a person who can go around my pond and see what's happening, what is the extra value that your solution is giving us? And this is true in India, where, because of many of the things we're trying to solve have human beings available. We have, it's not like many other places where, there are no human beings. India has a lot of people. So you have a person who just goes around a rubber plantation and sees whether those cups are filled or not. Now, if you want to replace that and say that we'll make something efficient, it's a big, big mind shift change. And that is where the technology has to be something that, what I said, that no man has done before, or no one has done before. And that is where these things matter. For example, if you can say that I have a probe that goes 20 feet under the ground. Now, you can't have a human being 20 feet under the ground. Or if my probe sits inside a refractory kiln or inside the air filter of or valve of an air filter. Now, those are places where you really, really make a difference. Recently, a friend of mine asked a query, then he's building an air filter, and he was saying that, I have this kind of a probe. Can I have something more intrusive, which doesn't require, repair, and that can give me predictive analytics of when the valve will fail. Now, those are the problems. If we can solve at that level, then we can bring in real meaning to customers. Now, we just say that your probe is going to tell us what is the temperature and what is the pH of the thing and how it will wilt. I think we have gone beyond that. So we have to look at things which are no longer romantic but actually meaningful. And this is a struggle that many of us, all of us actually in the IoT industry are going through, especially when it comes to monetization, because we are trying to struggle with putting in applications where most of the people think that they can manage without. So we have to see where we place our solution. And if we can place a solution well, there is tremendous amount of acceptance, there is tremendous amount of value. So I'll just, when I talked about this whole variety of things and how they seamlessly come together, so many of you may be aware of what a digital twin is, right? A digital twin is a concept that has come out, not too long ago, where you create almost what we used to earlier call a computer simulation of a real life object. So let's say I have a digital twin of an apple. And now this apple behaves just like a real apple. Now, just imagine through this whole collaborative network of different industries and frameworks of technology, I can take this apple through a range of IoT, IOXTs. The apple, when I say in terms of, in the context of agriculture, there, what would matter is its harvesting season. What does it look like? Is it ripened, not ripened? What kind of growth it has shown, right? So those are the kind of parameters in which the apple would be contexted. Then the apple moves from that harvesting world to the world of logistics and transport. So what would matter there? Would it matter its weight, the way it is ripened, what kind of shape, whether it's got physical damage? It's the same apple, the same digital twin of an apple that has moved. Then when it comes to our dining table, its nutrition value, how it has got ingested, whether apple a day keeps the doctor away really makes sense. So you can see that a digital twin now has moved all the way from an agricultural context to the context of logistics and retail to the context of well-being IoT. And now this journey is possible. And you can now get different kind of values, different kind of meaning out of a digital twin. And the only thing is that all of this have to work seamlessly. So there is this whole range of collaboration that has to happen, sharing of data, open standards. Many of these things have to come together. I feel this is a very exciting and interesting area and gives us, in India, where we have all the capabilities that I talked of. None of this is science fiction, it's real and it's available today. The other interesting thing which I see is the power of plus. Now, in the world of innovation, you see remarkable innovation when two things come together. IoT plus 5G is very obvious because we want to just power the wireless capability. So I'll not talk so much about this, but let's talk about IoT plus social. Now, social as a paradigm is now so much more accepted. People have shared data. My cycling data, my health data. If I'm a new mom, I share the data of my baby with everybody. Now, just imagine that we apply the same context to IoT, and you have a set of farmers outskirts of Guwahati. They are doing some very new thing, like some black seed, which is essentially a seed that has come from Ethiopia. Now, these kind of things, and the person doesn't know much about that. Now, imagine that you have farmers in Karnataka, farmers in Assam, and farmers in Ethiopia sharing real-time data of their farm. And they have a formed affinity group of monitoring each other's data and telling that, hey, I see this is going wrong, this is something else, can you do this, can you do this? Now, you can have that kind of affinity group with almost any such community which can generate data through IoT. I feel this is going to be a very, very powerful thing because people now are conversant and more comfortable sharing all kinds of data. So I feel IoT plus social can be very revolutionary. The other interesting thing that is happening is as we talk about IoT, the things that were things now are becoming more and more human-like. So the whole paradigm of processing, for example, if you look at deep learning, artificial intelligence, process from data to knowledge to information to knowledge to wisdom is how the human brain works. Even things like how we process data, concept of making approximations and looking at our own models and then matching the error, the concept of things like maximum likelihood receivers and those kind of things which we learned during our digital communication days. Those are the ways, those are the paradigms not being followed even for processing of IoT data. And that is how the human being behaves. Concept of learning and inference is how human beings do. A baby learns that way, right? So things are becoming more and more human. And interestingly, with human beings, we are becoming a larger part of this whole things, right? So there are now endoskeleton implants, there are wearables, you have almost, I'll talk about things like you can ingest a semiconductor, you can ingest a pill that will tell you whether that medicine has been nicely digested and used by your body. So the whole concept of what we call the Internet of Beings is getting created. So we are now, as human beings, getting in more and more implanted to the larger internet. And these are not, again, science fiction. With the progress of semiconductors, you will know that there are already chips that can be implanted on your retina, on your cochlea. You can have things that are ingested, injected, all of those things. And that gives us real-time information of people. So just imagine that, to the number that Subodh talked about, so many things, add the human population as well, 7 billion or 8 billion. And then you have, this is the new Internet of Things. So, and the people, why people are doing this is again because of convenience. You have implants that you can use as a biometric Aadhaar. You can have implants for people with dementia, whether they forget taking medicines. So there are a lot of ways in which these things are done. I'll just give one use case of the connected world of the elderly. And I think that's very contextual in the case of a conference like this. You will find that, a lot of technologies are there to find out whether people have fallen down, especially elderly people. Now, of course, that is post facto. If the person has fallen down, depends on how bad the fall is. It may be useful or may not be useful. Now, can we use other methods, right? Can we even simple things like, looking at the surfaces on which the people walk, do biometric understanding of the person itself, if the person is, has osteoporosis or other issues, what kind of gait they have. You can do gait analysis, you can do walk analysis, you can do posture analysis. And all of these things can actually give you a prescription of how the person should walk, where the light can be, where there should be a camera. Many other things can be put in because elderlies do not like to have intrusive things, and it's a psychological story. So you will find that there are technologies by which, and this again needs to be collaborative, and these are opportunities for young entrepreneurs to work with the medical community, with people from bioengineering, people from pure sensors and these kind of areas, and we can solve meaningful problems and things that you can prevent, or you can even prescribe things to the elderly, and which may be more acceptable than some post facto analysis of somebody has fallen and departed. So that is one area I feel that and this is just an example that can be for newborn, that could be for post trauma, a lot of other areas in which we could work and we could apply healthcare IoT. So looking at the great Indian opportunity, right? And especially there are a lot of young students and young entrepreneurs. And I think this is one time where this opportunity has suddenly opened up into a huge, huge one. The technology is global, but the advantage that we have, the knowledge is local. So I work with one youngster entrepreneur in Manipur, and he's trying to solve a problem on IoT for tea gardens. And now this knowledge is so local. It is for that area. Nobody can in Israel or Malaysia can come and solve this problem. It is our problem that we can solve, and we know how to do it. And this knowledge that we have of our local systems is going to help us in so many ways. Then the other interesting thing, and which is like the Aladdin's genie, which has come out of this bottle in 2020, is everything is remote. We are as far as each other right now. It doesn't matter whether you're in Manipur or in Maryland. It just doesn't matter. And everything's so remote that nothing is remote anymore. So if you have a connectivity, you are all set. And this is a great advantage in the current context in India and for all our entrepreneurs, that as long as we have the right access and the right access to the data, we can build solutions around it. There's, of course, one issue, and I think our panelists after this can talk about it, is about, I think in the context of India, we still have an issue about hardware to make good form factor, small, elegant designs, which can scale and that can, be inexpensive as well. I think that we have showcases, we have some cabinets and but we need a warehouse, we need a shop floor of that. I think that is something we are still struggling with. But information is open, and with all the tools provided by large companies, free access is democratic. You have AI models which are very easily available. You have tools, all kinds of things is available these days, almost free in many cases. So access is democratic. So with all of these things and the technology evolving and the fact that there is a inflection point, there's a shift. And so whenever a shift happens, it almost resets everybody. And so it's a great opportunity for all of us. We just need to jump in, put the problem and the solution in the context of our own local, our own, I would say almost like a problem of the soil, and see what problems that we can solve in the context of our country. I think that is significant. I don't know how much time I took. So thank you, Subodh. Thank you, all of you, the entire team. It's a great opportunity to speak to all of you and share my thoughts. and hopefully, ignite some thoughts. And if you have any of you can contact me anytime, I am always available for any discussion. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Achintya. I mean, I think it's always inspiring to listen to you, and especially the way you, in such a simple language, you have demystified the whole IoT landscape. Not just demystified, but also talked about, the various aspects which we talk about in terms of, various things of, or you have said IOX of things, right? I think the scale, the security, the pervasiveness, the various confluence of technologies, which you said, whether it's cloud computing, edge computing, I think IoT must not be seen as one, typical technology or one specific area. That's the message which you have already conveyed in the session. So really thank and request you to stay throughout the session as well. At this juncture, now let me, invite. Yeah, so let me now invite Professor Ramesh Longanathan. I would like to now begin the second part of the today's deliberations. And this is more in terms of, though it was organized like a panel discussions, but I believe given the time and given the format right now, I would now request Professor Ramesh Longanathan to come. Professor, Ramesh Longanathan is co-innovation, professor of co-innovation and outreach as well at IIIT Hyderabad. He has been ex-chief innovation officer of Telangana State Innovation Cell. After 25 years in the product R&D space, he moved on to full-time into academics. So he's the one person who has come from industry to academia. As professor of co-innovation, heading the research innovation outreach at IIIT Hyderabad and helping start and grow the technology transfer office. He has been working at as a co-innovation labs, Entrepreneur on Residence Program, and Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurships. Have been adjunct faculty at IIIT Hyderabad since 2002, visiting faculty at IIT Hyderabad, member of governing board of incubators at IIIT Hyderabad, as well as IIT and BITS. Until recently, he has been a center head, progress and vice president products for Software Products Lab, responsible for leading the product development at the Hyderabad Development Center. As center head there, he has built a formidable product engineering group that now owns half of the engineering in the company. So that's a big accomplishment he has already had as a corporate role, and he's bringing the similar impact now to the startup ecosystem. As accomplished technologist with over 20 years product engineering R&D leadership, he is a regular speaker at various workshops and seminars across India. He is also part of various committees of Ministry of Electronics and IT, various associations like HISIA, NASCOM, and also very, very active with us in our Center of Excellence of STPI, which is named as Image in Hyderabad. Now with this, I would request Professor Ramesh Longanathan to throw some light on this industry and academia collaborations, and given this particular space of IoT, cybersecurity, and 5G. So would like him to touch about also on various innovation aspects and how to further accelerate the innovation, in particular translating the academic research into innovations. So over to you, Professor Ramesh Longanathan.
Thank you, Subodh sir. Happy to be here. So I'm just going to just present one facet of the whole research industry connect. And so we've been, we were the first IIIT to come up back in '98, and we were set up as a research university. So we're a bunch of, we're organized as a set of research centers. We don't have departments as such. And research is at our core, and we also have a very unique undergraduate research program, which is a 5-year dual degree, BTech and MS by research, where they get a thesis and publications. So, we've been very actively engaged in research, and right from the beginning, one of our founding aspirations or objectives of the institute was research that matters. Ensuring that research can translate into some solutions out there. It could be for the society, broader society, it could be government, it could be NGOs, it could be companies, startups, anywhere. But see research getting translated, and that is much easier said than done. Even as we have a lot of research that has practical applications in different sectors, there's a huge gap. Well, actually, it only takes 6 to 12 months to translate research into any solutions. But those 6 to 12 months are like a chasm that is almost impossible to cross. The researchers are happy doing the research, and once they finish the research, they move to the next research problem. So they're not keen to take it forward to the market. And the entrepreneurs that are there outside trying to build solutions are not familiar with research and not connected to the research world. And so this is something that like almost never happens. So we've been trying to do many things in terms of how we can bridge this gap. Starting from, we said like the biggest problem, I mean, the problem starts with not even being aware of what is possible, meaning you have research publications, but research publication titles are very esoteric, and like unless you're in that domain, you can't really understand what that research could do for you. So we created a technology catalog. We said like, can we create a consumption view of research? So in terms of what the technology means, and then like, so there was one, so we started from there, like a company to even discover what is possible in any of our research areas. And then we went ahead and we also are running one of the largest academic incubators in the country. Our incubator CIE is about 13 years old, and we have over 100 startups at the incubator. It's early stage space. And we also help start T-Hub, which is the largest incubator in the country, which is also on our campus. So we have 2 incubators on our campus. Between the 2, we have almost 250 startups. When we started the incubator, the hope even then was like having incubator and all the support on the campus, researchers might go and create startups. So that was the hope, but that was not to be. I mean, researchers are excited and happy doing research, and startup is not something that they're very, very keen to do, both research students as well as faculty. So then we changed our tack in the incubator to saying like, can we find startups that can work with our research? I mean, if research is not going out and creating startups, can we get the other way around? Can we take startups to research? And that's been working well, especially in the last 3-4 years. We are finding startups that are kind of using advanced and emerging technologies and get them to work with our research, and then some research knowledge getting into play in their use of technology. So that's on one side. So the incubator is there. Using the technology catalog, we've been engaging with companies that come and then kind of take up projects or fund and set up projects in different research centers. But again, those projects often don't necessarily lead to translation. When a company comes and works with us, they're looking at a little bit of research problem. Sometimes solutions happen, but not always do solutions happen. So we introduced a new model called co-innovation. So where we said like an industry coming in, because the solution doesn't happen because most funded projects are done by research independently. And like, so when it goes back to the company, there's some kind of, it becomes more like a knowledge exercise and less of a solution exercise. So we introduced this co-innovation model where the company's team and the research team together are working on a project. So as the knowledge part of it is done by the professor and professor's team, the company's team is integrating it. So it's always towards a solution or a product that the company is working on. And that's been working well. So we've had about 10 or so engagements in the last couple of years, which are like projects leading to an end solution, either a product or a solution that the company is building through the engagement. We went one more step, and then we also created a product lab. We said like often there is research which has very, very promising use in the market. Just because nobody's trying to take it forward or nobody's coming to license, research just sits in the shelves, doesn't find its way into the market. So we went and created a product lab, which is funded by the institute. It's a product engineering group. So where we understand the market needs and then define what the product should be and create the first version of the product based on research work. And that's something that's been also, it's an interesting experiment. It's about 2.5 years now. We've had the first 2 startups now go to a stage where they have customers. And in fact, one of the startups, SBI is the customer. For the other startups, it's in the sports space. Star Sports and Go Pitch Academy are the first 2 customers for the other startup. So these are 2 that are now getting into mainstream and beginning to raise probably a serious round of funding. Then another 7 or 8 in the pipeline. So that's the other experiment. So we're trying to do many things. Now, in that context, we got this opportunity for a slightly more larger kind of canvas of applying kind of research into tangible innovation. It's a living lab. So we set up a smart city research center last year, and we were converting our campus into a smart campus just because we needed data for our own research. We're doing anything around smart city, smart buildings, and other energy and other related research. There is no publicly available data sources, just energy consumption data. So you have to go and collect it. So we said, like, why not we go via the campus, get this data available for anybody, for our own researchers, and also any other researcher or even a startup that needs data to validate, build their models or validate their models. And when Mighty got to know about this, Dr. Garg, they were thinking, Mighty and Smart City Mission were thinking of setting up a living lab, a smart city living lab, to kind of as a testing, proving ground for innovation. So they asked us, can we convert our efforts into the first living lab? And we're very happy. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to introduce the concept. This is a slightly more structured way of kind of getting into in a research institution. making the whole campus as a living lab. To be able to kind of not only build, research-based solutions, also source solutions from startups and get them to actually test it on the campus, a live campus, because we are a 2,500 student campus. 2,000 student, 2,500 resident campus with about 1,500 floating population in the day. And so it's a 60-acre campus. So things can be tested, or a lot of smart city solutions can be tested in this campus in a small scale. Government of Telangana is a key part of it. And once we test it in this scale, we can extend it to the city. And like once it is tested, proven in the city, it can be taken to 100 odd smart cities, and then to the whole country. So that's the idea. Bringing all the players related to smart city together. In research institution, we are anyway there. The research institution, and we'll also work with other research institutions, getting the policymakers to come in, because you could see things in action, see innovation, technology problems in action. It can bring in policymakers also to come in, corporates in the space, smart city companies, technology providers, smart city EPC integrators, and such could also come in, and cities themselves. And the idea is to bring all of them in this context, while the immediate tangible context is to source innovation that can be applied to cities, but also a secondary context is to use this as a canvas for these larger conversations around policy, standards, and such. So it's a very unique model of trying to kind of innovate at scale, especially research-led innovation. So we had a lot of, the project formally commenced in March, end of March. And in the first DPR phase, we had a lot of consultation with different stakeholders. The idea was to work on areas that matter. So we consulted with Smart City Mission, with MIT, with consulting firms like PwC and others that are actively involved with Smart City initiative in the country, with the city of Hyderabad, with the IT ministry in the state here, and different agencies, and with a few of the companies as well that are in the smart city. And then we identified these 5 areas as areas where there's a need in the coming next couple of years, need for technology, because this is a technology focused living lab, IT, hardware and software centered. And so these are the priority areas identified. So we know that like there are problems in these areas to be solved, and if we can source innovation, they will get deployed. And the whole idea of the living lab is to be a place where you can understand the problems, explore solutions, actually build it, and then pilot it, prove it, and then take it to scale. So anybody can come in at any point. Somebody might come in with a solution just to prove and take it to scale. Somebody might come, look at all the data and such we have, and actually even develop a solution. Somebody might come with a basic solution, pivot it, and then modify it to solve a specific problem, do some of the experimentation. And of course, the whole proving. There's evaluation, validation, and evaluation that happens. And that's what the Living Lab would enable. Partners are key. I mean, if you're looking at it as a larger, you can't do something and then go find somebody to adopt. So from the word go, the right players like Smart City Mission is a founding partner. And so like, there's an avenue directly to all the 100 smart cities right now through Smart City, the National Smart Cities Mission. The state is a partner as well. So Hyderabad, City of Hyderabad is going to be immediately kind of an extension of our Living Lab. Things that can be proven in our campus can immediately be taken to an extended pilot in the city. The state is fully kind of engaged with the lab, is a founding partner for the lab. We will get other corporate partners as we go. We're getting a few corporate founding partners, but there'll be other companies coming in. The idea is that like you shouldn't do something and then go find somebody. The potential people that could work with you or use or produce some of these technologies should be inherent part of this Living Lab. And so we are in the process of onboarding the corporate partners. Research is a big part of it. We're already connected with IISc, IUDX, and we started along with, we've already adopted 1M2M as our standard. We are looking at IUDX as the intelligent standard, which Smart City Mission has mooted and IISc is building. And we are building the whole smart campus. We started to build the information model for these 5 verticals so that we can initiate based on information model created for both IUDX and 1M2M. We can then moot a standards initiative with BIS or such later. But the idea is to create a working model first before we go and trigger a standards exercise. And we're also in the process of creating a technology stack. CDOT has an implementation of 1M2M. Right now we're using an open source one, but we are going to adopt the CDOT's implementation. So we'll create a complete technology stack which has like sensors at the bottom. We have an information model, 1M2M server from CDOT, and data coming into 1M2M, and then IUDX as the intelligent layer. And this will be a reference stack which Smart City Mission can recommend. It may find its way in the RFPs also, but definitely can recommend the standards to the cities. So the complete tech stack coming up as well. And knowledge partners, of course, we are, this whole thing is being based on an intergovernmental arrangement between us and Netherlands to replicate the Amsterdam Innovation Arena, which is in a football stadium in Amsterdam. John Cruyff Arena is a stadium. And that living lab is one of the most successful living labs. And we are drawing upon their experiences as we structure our processes and models and such. So that's the whole idea is to kind of collaborate, innovate, and accelerate. So the physical space is available, all the sensors, the data is available, the data streams, anybody with the right permissions can get access to live data streams from any of our sensors. Archive data is always available for them to kind of validate or test or build their models. And for the right, after some sufficient scrutiny, we may even allow them to put some controls, like maybe an energy lighting control or air conditioning control. So we may even give them access to our controls so they can control the building as well to prove their solutions. So the whole campus is a test bed, so to speak. A live campus is a test bed with all the sensors and the data streams available for the innovators. And then there are programs to accelerate. The idea is that, like, if you just wait for things to happen rather loosely, they don't always connect. So we said, like, we will run a lot of challenges, and user agency could be a company, could be a government department, could be a city. We'll come and say, like, right now, the first challenge we're going to run is City of Hyderabad is looking at improving the efficiency of water distribution. So they wanted quality and quantity measurements. So there's the first challenge we're going to run: water quality and quantity measurement, open challenge at any level. It can be in a small pipe, can be in a tank, can be in a distribution network, anywhere. So we're going to source innovation. So they may or may not have solution readily available, but we're going to give them 3 months time to pivot. They may have a solution that is doing something very close to what is required, and then they will pivot and then prove it in the campus, and then take it. The winning teams will go and will be getting a pilot to demonstrate in the city. Now, so there'll be challenges from government, from a lot of corporate companies that are looking at innovation. We're talking to a few companies like GMR Hyderabad Airport. We're right now having a conversation. They want to innovate, set of challenges around like AI for like crowd management, larger campus management. So companies might come and set up challenges. So the challenges are key to getting very relevant, meaningful innovation from research or from startups. Because somebody is coming saying, I have this need, and if you have a solution, I'm willing to pilot it. And we'll first evaluate it on the campus and screen them, shortlist, and the shortlisted one will set it up on the campus. From that, based on that demonstration, we'll pick 1 or 2 that will go to the actual company's pilot. So that's a broad collaborate. I mean, get the collaborators, there's a whole campus available for the innovators, and then programs to accelerate the innovation. So that's the living lab. I just want to share this as a case study, given that there are a lot of policymakers, like government leaders and thought leaders, industry leaders in this group. I just want to share this as a case study. And MIT is behind it. MIT has funded the project along with Smart City Mission. We work very closely with Dr. Garg. And EBTC is a Indo-EU kind of technology consulting agency, not-for-profit. So they are actively involved. So it's been a fantastic experience. Like I said, we've come this far now. The setup is done. The first version of the campus is there. We have the data coming in, and like the collaboration with IISc has been fantastic, and CDOT has been very good as well. So I think while we're going to run the first set of challenges now, but I think the campus with a reasonably good set of sensors deployed and good stream of data coming in, we expect to be in that state by March or so. And so we're looking forward to that. And so thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, Subodh, getting us to share this, sir. I think it's a good conference, and happy to have been able to present one facet relevant to the conference. So thanks, Subodh, sir.
Thank you, Professor Ramesh Loganathanji. I think a very important facet of what you have described today. I remember, and I think my next speaker, Sanjeev Kiskaji, will talk about. I would request you just unshare the presentation. Right, we had visited such I'll not say exactly in the same scale, but such living lab when me and Sanjeev ji were in Hong Kong, and we were visiting Arrow headquarters there, and we were literally wanted to see something happening of this scale in India, right? So it's good to see this living lab concept is coming up, And I think I had some deliberation already within my team when this concept was initially probably talked about. As you said, it finally got converged into IIIT Hyderabad, because this is a place where, as you rightly said, the co-innovation models will be, is the key in future, right? And the collaboration with industry, with the right set of challenges being identified and, sourced, and then collaboration is the model to make successful, this whole co-creation, for the products, right? And when this kind of lab is there, this kind of facility is there, testing, as you said, on a scale level is possible. So we look forward to utilizing from our Center of Excellences such facilities as well to our startups, basically who are working in various centers of STPI and outside STPI as well. So thank you, Rameshji, for your very, very insightful presentation, and request you to stay. At this, let me now invite Sri Sanjeev Keshkarji. Sanjeev Keshkar is the Chief Executive Officer of Arvind Consultancy. After a successful stint of more than 35 years in corporate world, out of which 29 years in semiconductor industry, Mr. Keshkar has incorporated now his own firm called Arvind Consultancy, an advisory firm in the field of developing high value add ecosystem for semiconductor electronics industry in India. Mr. Keshkar has also a chief mentor of one of the Center of Excellence called STPI IoT Open Lab, Electronic City, and it's not just a chief mentor, because the whole concept of IoT Open Lab was his brainchild, and we created it we supported it in a way that this IoT Open Lab is something which has to be there. And there's a second, in its kind across the world. The first IoT Open Lab was set up in Hong Kong, which we had visited, and then we envisaged that this has to come out in India as well. Mr. Keshkar is also the first president and founder member of Confederation of Indian MSME and ESDM and IT. He was elected chairman of IISA in 13-14. Prior to this, Mr. Keshkar was managing director of Aero Electronics for India, a leading electronic component global distribution company, where he contributed to more than 2x growth of the revenue. Earlier, he was managing director sales at PMC Sierra for 5.5 years. As a country manager sales, prior to PMC Sierra, he was country manager sales at Freescale Semiconductor, offshoot of Motorola again, for between 2005 and 2009, where he had led design win and revenue growth for India sales. Prior to this, Mr. Keshkar was also the country manager in AMD for India as well. And again, he has led the growth of AMD India for the 4 years across all major OEM and channel engagements. So I think he comes with a very accomplished background and very much into semiconductor industry and the IoT industry. So we are literally having a privilege to have him here on this platform. So now I request Sanjeev Keshkarji to further enlighten our audience with the confluence of 5G, IoT, and related technologies, and where does he see and how we fuel the innovation in this particular space. So over to you, Sanjeev ji.
Thank you, Subodhji. Thank you very much for this kind of introduction. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Now you're audible, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, everyone. It is an honor and pleasure to be here with you in this prestigious conference organized by STPI and Subodhji. What I'm going to take you over next 10 minutes is primarily how IoT is becoming more important in every aspect of electronics and artificial intelligence. We have seen industry revolution from industry 1.0 to now we are talking about industry 4.0. From steam engines, we migrated to automation, then computerization, and then electronic control. And now we are talking about robotics, we are talking about artificial intelligence and IoT. So what exactly we are really looking into IoT, what it is? Today, everything is connected to cloud or servers and data centers. But we are actually living in an embedded world, which we call as operational technology. Now, the competency what operational technology has, they have a very limited knowledge of servers and cloud. Whereas the people who are setting up data centers and cloud, they have a very limited understanding of embedded technology or operational technology. So IoT is actually a conduit which connects these two worlds. Means on one hand, we have sensors, we have processing, and then the connectivity modules, which ultimately IoT will connect to the cloud or data centers. And this connectivity can be anything. It can be Wi-Fi, BLE, LoRa, GSM, GPRS, Zigbee, any type of connectivity. So IoT is going to play a very, very important role into every aspect of verticals that we know, be it a home consumer where entire home appliances, lighting, security will be IoT enabled. Our transport mobility, the OBD2 for diagnostic or connected vehicles, electric vehicles, everything will have a IoT module and connectivity. Health and body, even earlier speakers have talked about the opportunities, even the building infrastructure, industrial IoT, and smart cities. So IoT is going to play across all verticals of electronics industry. Now, what are the opportunities for startups when we are talking about Indian context? Then all of you know that government is driving this smart city project for 100 smart city, and there will be smart traffic management, garbage management, plus parking, plus every utility meter, smart energy meters, and everything will be connected, and that really brings a very large opportunity for all of us. When it comes to automotive, as I was mentioning, that AIS 140 program of government to have all the commercial vehicles to have a tracker, that is a huge program, because we have a current install base of 20 million commercial vehicles plus, and all of them will be required to fit a tracker over next 1 or 2 years. Similarly, the onboard diagnostic unit, also the Wi-Fi hotspot getting created into cars. So those are the opportunities we are seeing in automotive domain. Industrial IoT is actually a very, very large opportunity for startups, because every industry will have a unique requirement of sensors and connectivity. And large companies may not be interested in doing that customization for individual industry. And that really brings a very large opportunity for startups and small and medium industries into IoT space. When it comes to industrial electronics, smart grid, smart energy meter, solar pumps, again, these are the applications which will have a huge demand. Means you must have read that more than 200 million smart energy meters with connectivity will be installed over next 3 to 5 years. And that's a very, very large opportunity. What are the challenges which are faced by startups? Because we know that there are so many startups, but success rate of startup in India is not that great. And if we really analyze the key reasons why startup or really are not greatly successful, or what are the challenges they face, then the first and foremost thing is they really don't have a visibility about the platform which will make them techno-commercially successful. Means there are so many technology options available, but they really don't have a visibility of all the options available. They work on a particular platform for a year or two, and then they realize that either they have created a very high-end system or a system which is not really meeting the market specs or market requirement. So that is one challenge. Second challenge, during development work, if they face any software or hardware issue, there is no expert available to handhold them or mentor them. So there is a critical need of mentorship and handholding during the development work. And the third important thing is about the test equipment. Means when you are developing any IoT application, right from sub gigahertz up to 5 gigahertz, you need a very expensive test equipment, and all those equipments availability under one roof is a challenge. So at STPI and my previous employer Arrow Electronics, we thought how we can really address these challenges faced by startup. And we came up with this concept of IoT Open Lab at Bangalore. And this lab is going to address all the three challenges what I just shared with you. In this lab, Arrow application engineering team is sitting of 5 engineers. They are expert into both hardware and software development. So they will be acting as a mentor to solve your technical issues. Then Arrow being a distributor of practically all semiconductor technology companies, their application engineer will be doing advocacy on the right platform, which can make startup techno-commercially successful. Then they are going to keep all the sample banks, so your design development cycle time will be shorter when you are availing this IoT Open Lab for your development. And then they have invested close to $400,000 to set up world-class test equipment, which can enable everything under one roof, entire testing of any IoT application under one roof. So this is a very strategic initiative by STPI to set up this IoT Open Lab at Bangalore, because Bangalore has more than 500 startups today working in IoT space. And it's a very large opportunity because the critical need of India today is creating IP into next generation technology. And this lab is going to enable not only the development work, but they are also going to improve the success rate of startups. With this handholding and mentoring and suggesting the right architecture and sample support, the entire objective of IoT Open Lab is how we can improve the success rate of startups in IoT space. I'm very happy that TIE and IISA are partner with STPI in this particular initiative. There are two models of engagement. One is complete package model and another is associate membership model, where in complete package model, you can pay one-time registration fee of 10,000 and share 3% equity with STPI and avail lab facility to complete your project till POC level, proof of concept level. Whereas in associate membership model, you don't have to part away with your equity. You can pay per use based on your requirement. You can just avail the slots of 3 hours for testing and advocacy in IoT Open Lab. So these are the two models where you can engage. And this is the website where you can register for IoT Open Lab and take advantage of excellent initiative taken by STPI to support startups in IoT space. And we are really looking forward to startups to avail this facility. This is completely operational from September 2020. And right now, almost 20 plus startups have already registered with us. But we want to ensure that every year we churn out at least 50 to 100 successful startups from this program. So thank you again, Subodhji, for giving me this opportunity. IoT is a next big revolution. And with STPI and Arrow, we are really going to ensure that we have successful startup in the next generation revolution of IoT. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sanjeev ji. And I think rightly said, IoT is the next big wave of revolution. I know it's already happening. The number of devices, the interconnections, the confluence of technologies, as our previous speakers have spoken about, it's a massive area space in which skilling in terms of right set of skills available with young students, because a lot of young students are listening to us right in this particular forum. It's an important aspect to understand various nitty-gritties of technology spaces in the space. And also what as a government, what we're looking forward, how do we see more innovation coming out? And that's the reason why you have beautifully described that IoT Open Lab, which has been set up by STPI and in collaboration with other stakeholders and partners, especially the very important partner Arrow, is one such initiative. And it's just an example of one such initiative, which is to create such startups and to give a home, playground to innovation which at happening at a design level. I think that's the message for our community which is listening to us right now. So thank you, Sanjeev ji. Again, I know you have to run for some other meeting, but again, I request you to stay as long as you can. At this point of time now, let me invite Dr. Satya Gupta, and Dr. Satya Gupta is a very, very seasoned, and very, very passionate about the whole semiconductor industry within India. He is chairman of IISA, and he is at present CEO of CDS Innovations also. He's also president of VLSI Society of India. He was earlier a CEO of Sensop Technologies. He has worked as CEO of Concept to Silicon Systems Bangalore, which was further acquired by HCL Technologies, in 2015. He was also General Chair of VLSI Design and Embedded Systems Conference in Bangalore. Previously, he has worked in Open Silicon, Intel, and Care IT Delhi. He is very sought after, leader in terms of whenever there is anything happening within the semiconductor, within the fab space, or within the space of IoT. He's speaker in multiple forums. I have an opportunity of interaction with him in multiple scenarios in past, or multiple interactions have had in past. So now with this, and he's also a PhD from Old Dominion, University in High Speed Computing and massive parallel computing, neural networks. So he is a pure technology guy. I think our young minds would be very, very happy to hear from you, Dr. Satya. So again, over to you, Dr. Satya. And I think I would only request you to throw some thoughts on various new facets of semiconductor and nanotechnology manufacturing, as well as how does ESDM product space is being seen in India, and where do we see I think there's a big deficit when we talk about what is happening outside versus India. So how do we close that gap with innovation? So over to you, Dr. Satya.
Thank you, Subodh, and thank you, everybody. I think over last 45 minutes, we have learned a lot about different facets of IoT. So I will not basically bore you with more IoT talk. So I'll talk more basically about different things. As Subodh said, electronics and semiconductor, what's new happening, and some perspective. Subodh said a lot of things about me, but at the end of the day, I am another struggling entrepreneur, just like a lot of basically the people in this call. Okay, because every startup is a new challenge, right? It doesn't matter how much experience you have. So I think first of all, let me thank IIT, the IISF for creating this wonderful event to celebrate the spirit of the science and technology. I've been listening to basically a lot of their sessions over last 2 to 3 days. So I feel that it is a wonderful platform for bringing together the academia, industry, and basically the government to bring together different facets of innovation. So I'll take a couple of minutes about what are the ISA's focuses. ISA is India Electronics and Semiconductor Association, started in 2005, now about 15 years. It focuses on basically different aspects of the industry, what we generally refer as the ESDM industry, which comprises of almost like 270 companies across India. All the big semiconductor companies, local and global electronics companies, small to medium companies, startup, and incubators, and so on and so forth, right? So, some problem with the slide share. Okay. So I think one of the focus area for ISA is to build a electronics and semiconductor product ecosystem. As all of us know, there are a lot of basically global companies which do the bleeding edge design work out of here, but still the product ecosystem in terms of the chip products coming out of India or electronics product where the design and IP is owned by basically domestic companies is a relatively weaker aspect of our ecosystem. So that's the one focus area, both on the chip design and electronics product, like basically taking an example, it could be a GPS chip, it could be a smart metering chip, it could be apps processor for smartphone, and neuromorphic computing. We don't have too many of Indian products there. So that is one focus area on the chip side. On electronics product areas, medical equipment, telecom equipment, and so on and so forth, right? And all the IoT products which we talked about, right? They form the bone of electronics products, right? So I think that's another focus area, because once we have a large number of electronics product companies in India, it will automatically generate the demand for the chips which get used into those products. And once we have the demand for the chip, basically then the manufacturing will automatically be required to do in India, right? So I think this is what we need to strengthen. Saying that over last 7 years, we have made very good progress in electronics manufacturing, which is more of a contract manufacturing type of the basically activity, where we manufacture the product for different companies, be it Samsung, Apple, Oppo, Vivo in smartphone areas, and so many basically industrial areas through Honeywells of the world and so on and so forth. But this is more of a contract manufacturing or manufacturing as a outsourced service, right? Now we have to convert this basically progress, which has been made in 7 years, to domestically owned designed products, so that basically we can create a long-term self-reliance in this area. Second area of focus is related, that once we need basically these electronics products, we need the manufacturing facilities. We can put it in front or in back. If you have the manufacturing facility, then we have a basically ecosystem to build the meaningful products, or basically if you have the products, then we can fill the manufacturing facility for long term, right? So both semiconductor manufacturing and electronics manufacturing. As I said earlier, electronics manufacturing, we have made good strides over the last 7-8 years. Semiconductor manufacturing, honestly speaking, we are not basically there yet, but there has been a lot of progressive moves over basically last 2 years, especially in terms of the policies like PLI, SPACs, and PLI, not just for smartphone type of the thing. Now the PLI scheme has been expanded to 11 other sectors, right? Which is, I think, in my opinion, PLI is the game changer for India. Not just for electronics, so many other sectors also, because this is probably one of the most brilliant scheme conceived by the government to incentivize the products and manufacturing in these different areas. And I think in terms of incentive scheme by any other country, I think PLI scheme outsmarts every other scheme in the world, right? Be it Southeast Asia or US. So I think if you, all of you might already know about it, but if you don't, please basically look at it. This is something which is very powerful, very innovative, and very smart way of doing things. Third area, we cannot have the product design and technologies without having basically fundamental backbone through design and R&D. So working with this, institutions of various types, and also the industrial research, and combining the two, right? So we are working with the governments on programs like SMDP, which translates to Special Manpower Development Program, where basically the training and capacity building happens in the VLSI and system design space. It is currently basically about 72 institutes across the India get all the facilities through the MIT's SMDP program. And the next phase probably will basically reach to about 100 such colleges, right? Fourth thing, we focus in that whatever technology we develop, it has to be basically serve the society at large, right? It should be able to solve the problems of the local ecosystem, society, and so on and so forth. These are basically 4 primary focus areas of ISA. Now, coming to innovation framework, right? I think if I look back last 5 to 7 years, right, through various government programs, starting with the DST's program of business incubators like Nidhi, through the Nidhi scheme and other things, MIT's program of basically tied incubators, STPI's, COEs, and state governments effort, right? I think we have built a very strong foundation for innovation. Okay. And as some of the previous speakers said, that now we have to convert this basically foundation infrastructure into success stories. And as basically Sanjeev was saying, that basically the success rate for the startups is not as good So what I'll say is that we were in the foundation phase for last 5 to 7 years, right? We have laid the foundation, be it IIIT Hyderabad, be it IIT Open Labs, and so on and so forth, right? Basically, so many, this thing, there are about 170 incubators which are supported by DST. Then STPI and MIT together have about basically 20 such incubators or center of excellence, or what from our point of view, we call it electropreneur parks, right? Then NASCOM has basically some effort in this thing. So I think we have done a lot of infrastructure building, right? Now we have to basically, if I had to use a cliche, right? We have built the foundation, let's build the Taj Mahal on top of it now, right? So I think that time has come, that next 5 years will be utilizing this infrastructure to build basically successful commercial startups, or not startups, successful commercial companies, right? So yesterday I was in a seminar and I was asked that basically how many unicorns are there in the ESDM sector, right? I said none, right? So, but at the same time, we want to have a basically unicorn revenue with unicorn profits, not unicorn revenue with unicorn losses, right? So I think we have to put the things in the right context. In this business, we can't be basically running unit economics on basically perpetual losses. We need to build successful businesses. We may not be unicorn, but the goal is in 5 years, we should have at least 100 companies which are beyond basically 100 crore of revenue. Okay. So I don't know whether I can talk about $1 billion, but something basically modest, reasonable, but needed. We need to build big companies. And in the startup area, if you see success rate, people talked about, right? The main issue which I see is that more than 95% of our startup start with a very good idea, but basically they get stuck basically in a revenue range of 1 to 5 crore, right? They are finding very difficult to cross this 5 crore basically barrier, or about $1 million barrier, to basically go to the next stage, because you need a different kind of the skill set, different kind of the team, different type of mindset to basically go to the next level, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about it. So I think through this innovation that basically infrastructure which we have created, what can we do, right? So if you see technology wise, IoT, 5G, machine learning, AR, VR, cloud, quantum computing, blockchain, sensors, all of them basically will form the technology backbone to look at the mega problems of the country and see how we can basically address it. So I'll just basically put in some sectors which are basically particularly important for India, right? So if you look at healthcare, right? The healthcare needs for India is very different basically from the healthcare needs of the USA, right? We need to reach to 130 crore people and we will never have enough doctors. So technology is the only answer to basically address the healthcare problems of India. Similarly to agriculture, right? PM always talks about doubling the income of the farmer. How is he going to double the income of the farmer without basically use of the technology? So technology becomes very imperative to basically make progress in agriculture. We have already talked about transportation, logistics, AV, EV, all of that basically very important. Another very, very critical thing is education, right? I think we are very much falling behind on the education because we don't have effective means to basically reach to the last mile of the child to basically deliver him the quality education, which is on the par of the city side, because most of the kids are there, right? But technology can bridge the gap. They can give basically, we have Byju's and Vedantus and all those things for the city kids. How do we create the similar content and the delivery mechanism for education to basically the people who are not basically part of the big cities, right? Another important basically area is environment, right? I think how many of you are in Delhi? Probably basically at least 50% of the people on the panel might be in Delhi, right? Why do we have to put up with basically this stupidity of bad air, right? Don't we have basically enough technology to solve this problem? We do. but basically we are not working together to basically solve this problem, right? I think we get basically always make this problem as a more political problem than a technical problem. If we collectively work on technical solution, I can assure you within 1 year we can solve the Delhi air problem, which is a basically huge mess. We just learn to live with basically something which is so atrocious, right? Which is basically something which we can together apply our minds and solve it. But it needs that kind of the resolve, and basically maybe if government is not able to do anything, maybe we can do this from the private sector. So moving on, what ISA is doing about it, we have basically a vision of creating 1,000 electronics and semiconductor related startups, which will basically result into 10,000 IP and patents on the technologies, so 1 to 10x. And that should generate basically 100,000 crore of business value and 1 million jobs. So what we call is 1K, 10K, 100 program of ISA, working with basically organizations like STPI, MIT, DST, and basically other basically agencies which are creating this innovation platform. We are part of basically like STPI and ISA work together on all the COEs and incubation centers which are electronics related. Similarly, we are partnering with basically other incubators as well from DST and other places, right? Sorry. So this is a broad vision where we want to basically see the country in next 5 years. So these are some of the basically initiatives to support the 1K, 10K program. I already talked about Electropreneur Park in the partnership with basically STPI. Sanjeev already talked about IoT COE lab. There also basically a lot of infrastructural support is provided by ISA companies. We have an incubator which is basically focusing primarily on the chip design startups called Safal in Bangalore. And we are working with the government of India to create a national policy, incentive policy for chip design company. This is going to be a very large program to create basically large chip design companies on the likes of Qualcomms and Broadcoms of the world. Obviously, we are at the very beginning stage, but that's the goal is that to provide the sufficient infrastructure and financial support to chip design companies, which require typically much bigger, basically investment and support, right? So I think there was some discussion about the grand challenge by professor from IIIT Hyderabad, right? So I just put together a few thoughts, right? And as I was saying, for environment, can we basically do something from a technology angle to reduce 50%, at least 50% pollution from Delhi, or 25% reduction in the basically water wastage, right? On the energy side, can we have basically air conditioner is one of the major consumer of the electricity. Can we produce the technology to reduce the electricity consumption by 25% on the AC, or distribution losses by 25%, right? Or street lighting remove 25% and so on and so forth. On agriculture, can we increase the 25% crop production by using the smart agriculture or water uses or electricity uses? And healthcare is basically, I think, in very much limelight post-COVID or during the COVID, but there are some long-term deep problems which need a very significant investment in R&D and then basically innovation, then conversion, right? One basically problem which anybody wants to take is basically, let's say, non-invasive glucose measurement, right? Okay. It's a $10 billion problem. If somebody can break it through, the total market size easily is $10 billion, right? The problem of adults falling down basically in bathroom and basically getting this thing, it has not been solved properly yet, right? It's a huge problem, huge opportunity. Our population is also aging. We will need those kind of the solutions. So while COVID type of the solutions are more basically need of the time, but these are basically long-term significant problems which can create a huge business value as well, right? So I'll take a couple of more minutes to share some of my thoughts from basically my personal entrepreneurial journey, what I learned. Basically, it could be useful for other people on these things, right? On the panel, right? So when you are a product startup, right? Customer buys what they see and feel, right? So if you are having a basically, let's say, building automation product, until unless it basically looks very professional and basically gives a feel of the international quality, you don't get the customer confidence. It cannot be just basically put the electronics in a dibba and basically try to entice the customer. In my experience, when we invested about 6 lakhs rupees in my previous company, which was in the building automation, the customers start seeing us very differently. Okay. And it created basically very good looking products, almost of the quality of the, if you've seen the Nest thermostat, right? So the product engineering is one of the basically most important things for basically making the commercial success for a startup. And unfortunately, since our entrepreneurs come from more technology background, they think that the idea is the supreme, but I think the product engineering matters a lot. The idea will always be there as a core of your technology, but product engineering, and I think that goes with basically required infrastructure and the thought of investing in that, right? Basically, maybe 20% of your investment you have to put in the product engineering, right? Apple succeeded primarily because of their product engineering superiority over their competitors, right? When iPod happened, multiple MP3 players existed, but iPod was very well product engineered device, and that's why basically Apple became whatever they became today, right? Second thing basically we have felt is that again, since our entrepreneurs come from purely technical background, their focus and the appetite for investment on the business side of the affairs is not as high. Okay. So if you say that basically you have to bring somebody for basically driving sales and marketing and you have to give him basically similar kind of the remuneration as your CTO, right? I think that's very unpalatable to a lot of our entrepreneurs. But there's no point of building a product if you can't sell it, right? So there has to be significant mind share and investment to be made on the business side of the basically startups. Third, we talked earlier, mentors are critical, but I think mentors who gives basically a couple of hours a month are not really that critical for the startup. We need mentors who can give significant time and be involved with the basically startup in a much larger way. So I'll say in a month, basically at least the person has to spend 10 to 20 hours with the startup to make a real meaningful impact with this thing. And the startup also need it. Mentors also has to basically go to that level where you take 3 or 4 startups only, but invest significant amount of the time with them. You need to know all aspects of their business, technology to basically make the difference. Fourth is basically all of us will need to raise the money at some point or other. I think money has a color. Every type of the money does not have the same impact on your startup. So choose the quality over quantity. A right investor can make a huge difference even if he may not be putting as much money as basically some other investor who might be putting more money and basically not as involved with their business. The last thing will I say, think big, right? A lot of our startups think basically, I will reach 50 lakh of revenue, 1 crore of revenue, and I'll be successful. I think we have to start thinking big, okay? And together we can help basically the whole startup ecosystem to become successful. So thank you so much. I'm always there to help you. My email and mobile number is on the screen. Anytime you need any help with basically in electronics product development or chip design product, whatever little bit I've learned over basically my experience as an entrepreneur or basically technologist, will be ready to help it. Whatever I can't help it personally, we have ISA large basically team in the body. We will provide. We have people like STPI, DST, Mighty team. All of them we can approach for providing any kind of help. Thank you so much. I think I've taken more time than I basically was slotted for. So apologies for that. Thank you so much.
Not at all. I think Satyaji, Dr. Satya, I think you have covered again the very wide spectrum from what ISA is doing, and an ISA we have known for very long years. And I think role of ISA in terms of creating the push of and bringing electronic manufacturing as within the fore in terms of even policy discussions. I think that has always been not been the case earlier, and I think now overall electronic manufacturing, the way various schemes have been already announced. You gave an example of PLI scheme which has been coming, which has been announced right now, and there are three major schemes which was announced by Honorable PM. Right, and I think in the first part of this year, I think they have seen a huge success in terms of bringing electronic manufacturing ecosystem in India. That's one. And second aspect which you have described in terms of your own entrepreneurial journey, I'm sure we'll hear more about that when I have Taranjeet talk about after Dr. Shiva, because he is a young entrepreneur and he has already delivered on that, so he'll be able to relate to what you just said. But at this juncture, let me now invite Dr. P. Sivakumar. Dr. P. Sivakumar is Managing Director of ASI MedTech Solutions. He is an independent medical technology professional with close to 35 years in the healthcare industry. With the primary objective of Dr. Sivakumar is to bring latest technologies in medtech devices space. He's very focused in medical technology and especially focused on medical technology devices space, right? And to facilitate the inventors to take the technology to the healthcare service providers and healthcare industry overall. His focus has been towards building strategic relationship and collaborations between the innovators, healthcare ecosystem providers and ecosystem players, and organizations that deliver the solutions to hospitals and labs across the country. One of the important areas of his focus is facilitation and commercialization of innovations. I think we have discussed various opportunities in the sessions so far, and innovation is the key, but commercialization is an equal important aspect of each and every innovation which happens, right? And I think that's where he will speak more on that. He is passionate about working with industry, academia, institutions, government, and has been earlier in his role as general manager Ranbaxy Laboratories Limited, managing director Siemens Healthcare Diagnostic, country head Agilent Technologies, CEO of Trevetran Healthcare. I think that's the reason why he has been able to guide a lot of startups. He's again a very active partner for STPI in one of our center of excellence, MedTech Center of Excellence, which we started with SGPGI in Lucknow. I think I had again multiple interactions with him, and I think today my audience would be more than happy to hear about his thoughts in terms of this particular and very important national priority sector, as Dr. Satya talked about, which is the healthcare. So over to you, Dr. Siva. We would be looking forward to your address now.
Thank you, Mr. Subodh. I really appreciate it. Unlike my previous panelists, I do not have a presentation, but I would like to share some of my thoughts. I've noted few points and I would like to express these things, and I would be more than glad to answer any of these questions. The topic that I have chosen to speak is the next decade may well see a revolution in treatment and diagnosis of disease. This is important, and this is linked to the digital technology or the Internet of Things, and everything comes under the platform of electronics and digital innovation. So to start with, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of India International Science Festival and STPI for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. and also the understanding of the IoT in healthcare in general, and more specifically in medical technology segment as part of this panel. In particular, I would like to thank you, Mr. Subodh, for inviting me to be part of this esteemed panel. I come from a background of medical devices and from the industry, and very specifically from the clinical diagnostics. Out of the 35 years of my professional career, I think about 30 years I would have spent on the clinical diagnostics. So I would like to provide a direction in which the world is heading in the medical devices arena and the applications of IoT as I understand. As stated by the earlier speakers, several industries are going through a revolution with advancement in Internet of Things, and the demand or needs are being met. Connected devices and healthcare is one of those industries, and IoT is making very strong inroads in the medical devices industry. Medical device companies are transforming themselves from devices and consumable providers to disease/care management organization. This is a very, very critical point to be noted. So they have been focusing mostly on the instruments or on the products that they were provided, but now their solutions are more focused on the disease and care management from these organizations. Most of the multinational companies and also some of the Indian companies who are trying to get into this. As many speakers have said earlier, IoT has opened up huge world of possibilities, and more so in medicine. When connected to the internet, the ordinary medical devices can collect invaluable information in the form of data and give extra insight on the symptoms and trends and enable remote care. This is a point that need to be noted. Enable remote care and give patients more control over their lives and the treatment. IoT has opened up a door for remote medical devices, medical care, which facilitates the care delivery outside the traditional setup. We are all used to going to the hospitals or the diagnostic laboratories, give your blood samples, or meet the doctor and get the healthcare provided. But now these IoT-enabled medical devices are changing to remote care and how it works along with its components. As I have always been saying that the country where 70% of the population lives in rural area and 70% of the healthcare infrastructure is in the urban area, IoT-enabled medical devices have a huge role to play in terms of accessibility of the healthcare. There are two critical components that we need to understand in the Indian healthcare system. One is the accessibility, second one is affordability. So both of them could be addressed through these IoT-enabled technology for the healthcare. Embedded medical devices reduce the time to diagnose and treat patients effectively, since these systems run on high-speed processors with rich operating system interfaces. So you don't have to give the blood and then wait for hours together or sometimes days, especially in the remote area, to get the results. These devices which are integrated with the Internet of Things are point of care devices where a single prick of blood or a drop of blood is enough to do the testing, and the results are instantly transmitted to the healthcare provider, either a doctor or a specialist, and the doctor or the specialist can take the necessary decision instantly. So these devices store the data of each. Apart from this, these devices store the data of each of the patient on the cloud and use them for different analysis and diagnosis purposes of repetitive basis. Each time we do not have to carry our records, or the patient need not have to carry the records or huge files. The data is already available in the cloud, and the data could be easily retrieved, and this decreases the overall treatment turnaround time. IoT devices offer number of new opportunities for healthcare professionals to monitor the patients as well as patients to monitor themselves. One is the doctors monitoring the patients per se, but what is important is we also have a control over what is happening on with respect to our healthcare. A variety of wearable IoT devices provide a variety of benefits and challenges for healthcare providers and their patients. Mr. Achintya Sharma has stated three. I really like that statement of 3 Ps that he has used are critical, and these could be achieved through IoT-enabled healthcare: prediction, prescription, and prevention. So this is something that I learned today, and then it's very, very important. And this could be achieved by the IoT-enabled healthcare devices. Let me give some examples of what are the connected devices very specific to healthcare, and then how they are being used and what are the applications, where the applications are. Just before me, the previous speaker, Dr. Satya Gupta, talked briefly about healthcare and then how to integrate them. But I will go more specifically into the medical devices that could be integrated and in which areas they are useful. So number one is in vitro diagnostic diseases. For example, the blood analysis. Maybe it's glucometers, it could be HbA1c meters, it could be hemoglobin meters. So these are the blood analyzers, immunoassay systems, breast biopsy equipment, HIV detection systems. These are all coming under the IVD. This is one area. The second area is the physiological monitors. Many of us probably use it at home, some of these things, and some of them are easily available. For example, weighing scales, pulse oximeters, which is being very vastly or widely used in the recent pandemic situation, BP monitors, ECGs, ventilators, glucometers, which I spoke already, and heart rate monitors. The other applications are mobile medical applications like medication adherence systems. One of the key things in the healthcare is the adherence or compliance to the usage of drug medicine. So medication adherence system. So it will give alerts to us. Dosage calculation systems. How much, what is the blood sugar level and how much of the drug has to be given. This could be easily calculated. I just gave a simple example. So dosage calculation system, wearables, activity trackers. Many of us now use the wearables like, and pedometers, sleep apnea detectors, capital intensive devices like implant, MRI, CTs, ultrasound. These also happen. And the other important aspect that I learned during the course of last 1.5 hours is a very impressive to listen to Professor Loganathan about the incubation program and the startup from IIIT Hyderabad. I think this is very, very important. Majority of the current connected devices are either integrated to a imported device or the complete solution comes from outside India. There is a huge opportunity, there is a huge talent that is available, and we need to use it. And it is very impressive to listen to Dr. Loganathan about what is going on and about setting up of the startups to work in a project evaluating the market needs. His statement about developing a product first after evaluating the market needs. This is very, very critical. The statement of startup to research is something that needs to be implemented by one and all. This is today hugely missing. I'm not saying that completely absent, but I think this need to be taken up. And he also stated that collaborate, innovate, and accelerate. This is the need of the hour and absolutely spot on in terms of what is required for the country in terms of the integration of medical devices with the digital platform or the Internet of Things. There have been products and solutions coming up, medical devices using IoT. but majority of them could not penetrate aggressively due to lack of understanding of the market needs. As I stated earlier, they are available, but they are not able to be widely popular because understanding on the market needs are not there, and the product is developed, money is spent, and then it is not getting into the market. The initiative of IIIT is something that is heartening to learn. So I think this is very, very important. The next most important thing, and one of the last topics that I would like to cover, is security of the IoTs in the healthcare. In order to make the most of IoT healthcare, critical security challenges need to be addressed. Much of the data collected by medical devices qualify as protected health information under the HIPAA and similar regulation. As a result, IoT devices could be used as gateways for stealing sensitive data if not properly secured. So this need to be done. All stakeholders concerned with IoT technology must ensure that they have adequately secure data collected by IoT, and education is very, very important aspect, and it's very critical. As an example, I would like to say 82% of the healthcare organization report having experienced attacks against their IoT devices. Developing secure IoT hardware and software is one step in addressing this challenge. IoT devices in healthcare must be managed properly in order to protect against data from unmonitored devices falling into wrong hands. This need to be very, very critical. Once IoT device networks are properly identified, classified, very importantly regulated and secured, managers can track the device. Behavior to identify anomalies, perform risk assessments, and segments vulnerable for mission critical devices. As stated by Mr. Sanjeev Keskar, IoT is the next big revolution. I fully endorse that statement, and I once again thank the organizers for allowing me to express my thoughts through this forum. Thank you. Back to you, Subodh.
Thank you, Dr. Siva. I think just letting people understand the complexities of medical technology, and especially the interconnected way of the various medical electronic industry has to work, and the importance of having a security inbuilt within the basic framework of the product, and also how to enable the inter-exchange. I think that's the very, very important aspects of medical technologies, and when somebody addresses this particular very important sector of medical technology. So thank you, Dr. Shiva. And again, we will probably take up some questions in time, so if time permits. But at this point of time, let me now invite Shri Taranjeet Singh Bhamra. Taranjeet, I hope, okay, I think we will have to, let me check. Can we, I think Taranjeet has just got dropped off. Can we get Taranjeet back and before? Just, I think, can we get Taranjeet back? I think he just got dropped off. Who is Taranjeet? You have number? Sorry. Before we get Taran here back, I think my team is working in the backend to get Taran back. But before we get Taran back, since we have Dr. Shiva and Ochintya on the dais itself right now, so I would request one quick question which probably we can take up, and especially the aspect of cyber security. I think this is Dr. Shiva, if you can hear me, right? We have to, and Ashintya, probably one of you can take this question. cyber security is an important aspect which both of you have also described in terms of various Internet of Things which are going to happen, right? And when we talk about these interconnected devices, and so where does when we talk about the security aspects, do you want to throw more light in this particular aspect about why security? I mean, security is an important part, but what really needs to be done? So Achintya, if you want to, I mean, it's not something which I, or
No, no.
Dr. Shiva. Yeah.
So I think, so let me talk about, so when we say security in the context of IoT, actually there are multiple aspects. One is about data security. So the data that comes from the devices or the sensors all the way through the journey from the wireless connectivity to the point of processing and its flow backwards, right? So that is one aspect. Then there is an aspect of privacy, I think, which is as much significant in the case of this technology, that people are worried, that their data is available to somebody else, right? So I think, so there's a question of privacy. Now, the third question is about leakage. In terms of, many countries now are insistent that their data should be preserved in their country. The whole GDPR regime is about that. And then you also have issues of, propriety, that, what one should be able to access and one should not be able to access. So there is a larger gamut of things. So there is, all the way from just protecting, then sharing. But I think with this perspective, and this has been there for almost for every technology that we talk of here, because the data is so much moving around, the problems become a little compounded. But we have to look at all these four aspects of data. The other development that is happening, and which I think is the one which will help in solving the problem, is that people's willingness to share. That is important. Because if I get value of, let's say I send my blood to a lab, I'm sharing everything, right? It's about me. They can figure out almost everything that they can need to know about me. I mean, what my cholesterol levels, my uric acid level, my sugar level, everything they know. Now, why I'm sharing that data? Because I think by getting the report back, it will help me, right? So this tendency, and that is the same thing you see in even social networks, where people share everything. Why? Because they believe at the end of it, there is a physical or financial or emotional contentment that they will get by doing that. So from a technologist perspective, we have to put in frameworks. There are all the way from blockchain to encryption to all of those things are available, right? So we have to apply those things. And similarly, on the database side, there are enough protections available now. Cloud computing is now norm, right? Nobody's thinking about what will happen if I keep things on the cloud. That, I think we have passed that. So I think psychologically, we as a humanity, we have moved to the point that we are now willing to share. But there's a responsibility on us in the enterprise side to put all those things in perspective. But if we can give value to people, people will share. So both ways it works. Look at the ATM, right? Can you even imagine that people can have money in unattended kiosks in some godforsaken neighborhood? But that is now there. People are willing to put money there. Banks are no longer scared. So I think we have moved past that scare point. Now it's a question of responsibility and putting technologies together. I don't know if anybody else.
Thanks, Achintya. I think, you have, obviously it's very clearly spoken about the need for, having, when we talk about inter-exchange of data, right? The encryption, and the way the data has to be exchanged and change hands. I think that's important part. And what Dr. Shiva was earlier discussing, because when we talk about some of these data being used in research, right, in some of the algorithms, data anonymization has to happen. And then only there will be meaningful systems can be created. But I'm happy to have Taran back. I think he had come out from his one of the important meetings. So Taran, very, very thanks to you to come out again. And I think apologies from my end that we could not let you in time. Taran, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Great. So, let me introduce Taran to the audience. Taran is, a very young entrepreneur. He is CEO and founder of Agnes Technologies, an award-winning venture capital-backed company, which has envisions a new world of agriculture and food value chain, and the latest applications of all technologies in data sciences, and that can transform the way we grow, procure, trade, store, and consume food, benefiting all stakeholders of the agri-business industry, right from the farm produce to the the movement of the food at the hands of the consumers. I think he has applied. Agnex has built a world-class platform for instant quality assessment, linkages, removing subjectivity and bringing transparency across food value chains. Taran is an alumnus of prestigious IIT Kharagpur, an MBA from IIM Calcutta. Prior to MBA, Taran has worked in the agriculture sector in India, understanding the deep-rooted issues, building up his strong base for technological interventions. Post his graduation from IIM Calcutta, Taran worked globally across Europe, Middle East, Asia markets, and currently he is based out of Mohali, and that is his base for establishing Agnex. Agnex is one of the flagship companies, already. Taran is also contributing to various industry and educational bodies such as CII, National Agricultural Committee of FICCI, Advisory Council of Agribusiness Incubator at Kharagpur. Given his experience, I will not take much enough time. Taran, over to you. I think I think the audience would like to listen from you, and if possible, if you're able to switch on your video, it will be great.
Yeah, sorry, I won't be able to because I'm at a place. I was waiting for last 2 hours actually, but had to present. I have a presentation very quickly. In fact, it's going out. I just came out of the meeting.
No problem, please.
What I heard about Mr. Ochintia ji, what he said that the future of IoT is actually IOXT, and that is very, very right. The whole concept of IoT is relay data actually, but what is that data? That is very, very critical, and we need to build new world, new avenues, new methodologies of collecting data, because once that data is relayed and insights are relayed back after processing, the world will shrink to a lot more better insights and a lot more better actions, removing inefficiencies in the value chain. And this is the X that we are building in agriculture. When I came back to India, the whole thing, I call it as the trinity of data, which is basically मेरे प्रोफेसर ने मुझे समझाया था बहुत पहले at IIT खड़गपुर कि किसी भी अगर reliable किसी भी सिस्टम को reliable बनाना है तो you need to understand Brahma Vishnu Shiv, what creates it, what maintains it, and what destroys it. And that is the trinity of data we are creating in agriculture, which is basically, I call it spatial data, temporal data, and most importantly, spectral data, which no one in, right now we are the world leaders in building spectral sciences. The whole idea behind it is कि अगर हमें data के हर एक प्रकार पता है जो कि subjective है किसी भी industry में, then we can actually use the data to manifest so many solutions that have never been thought of. For example, have we ever thought that in just 30 seconds we can tell at any point, चाहे वो बिहार का एक गांव हो, चाहे वो गुजरात का कोई अमूल की लोकेशन हो, कि हम उसमें पूरा का पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन डिजिटाइज कर सकते हैं मिल्क का, जिसमें हम उसकी क्वालिटी भी बता सकते हैं, एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो एनालाइज कि इसमें 14 तरीके के एडल्ट्रेशन कौन से हैं. This is unheard of because lab में this data takes 10 days to happen, while with our technology it happens in 30 seconds. So this is the world where we are saying, data of a new order had to be built, and that's where artificial intelligence and new way of signal processing were brought. So what we did at Agnex is, हमने again in Mr. Ochintia's word, we created digital twin of food. हमने फूड को फुली डिजिटाइज किया, इन द सेंस कि फूड अगर कोई एनालाइज करता है तो कैसे करता है. एक उसके मॉर्फोलॉजिकल प्रॉपर्टी विच इज बेसिकली द फिजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ फूड, उससे हर एक ट्रांजैक्शन, एवरी ट्रांजैक्शन, देयर आर $1 trillion वर्थ ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन दैट हैपेंस इन एग्रीकल्चर बाय एनालाइजिंग द फिजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ फूड. वीट में ब्रोकन श्रिवेल्ड कितना है, मस्टर्ड का साइज कितना है, पल्सेस में दाल में कौन सी दाल, कलर कौन सा है, ऑल ऑफ दैट बस देख के किया जाता है. नाउ can you convert that data in with computer vision and AI? So जिस तरह इंसान अगर commodity को देख के बता दे ये अच्छी या बुरी है, can we use computer vision with AI to do that? And that is what we built. That was the first data stream to digitizing food. The second data stream was chemical. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया मिल्क में केमिकल कौन कौन से डाले हैं या फिर wheat में gluten कितना है. Now these are very, very important parts which nobody ever thought can be done on a field in 30 seconds. And that's why no one ever took a trade transaction based on that. लेकिन जितनी बड़ी कंपनीज हैं चाहे वो ब्रिटानिया हो ITC हो उनका प्रोडक्ट Horlicks is working with us globally. They know the whole thing. And that is what is the issue कि उनको लैब तक आते आते they spend millions and then उनको पता चलता है gluten कम है फिर वो blend करते हैं. So this is where Agnex technologies come in. We are able to tell gluten on the field at the farm gate instantly. So this changes the game. This changes the game, and we know what we need to do. In terms of कितने में buy करना है, farmer को कितना incentive देना है. So spectral sciences में we were one of the leaders, much ahead of even Israelis and Chinese right now, because we created more than 100 parameters to analyze in less than 30 seconds in the whole food spectrum. And we are now changing spices industry, we are changing tea industry, we are changing grains industry, we are changing animal feed industry. And wherever we are going, the whole of the industry wants our technology to be deployed. And we are at a massive growth path in the next year, where we have proven that data-based solutions can truly revolutionize agriculture. And when we say that Agnex is developing, a database solution, that truly means that we are developing something which is much, much different than what others have developed till now. And this is where we want to say that, the third combination of IoT comes in. कि ये सारा on edge होना चाहिए क्योंकि agriculture में सारी चीजें field पे बिना IoT के नहीं function करेंगी. So that's what we have done is we have created one of the best on-edge devices solutions which can analyze, tea leaves in a tea garden or let's say moisture and physical and chemical, at any location. And that's where I am saying that Agnex is right now spearheading database solutions and packaging it into layers of transactions that every industry needs. So what I want to highlight is just one professor's words that, if you want to change a world, you need to go to the core and, analyze from a Trinity perspective. Is just what I would say how Agnex built up all its solutions. And now it is scaling massively all over. So my humble request to anyone who is getting into IoT would be that create IoT X as in the best possible manner. That X should redefine the whole industry. And after that, IoT is definitely the best highway that will help you to transform industries across what India needs today. So that is what we are, and we are very thankful to STPI to help us incubate when we were there, right? With just a concept, and I think now we are scaling all over across India and spanning into Indonesia, Russia, and shortly into Africa. That's it, sir, from my side.
Thank you, Tarun. I think, Tarun, for all, people connected to the system and through this digital platform today. And he is the right example of, one of the success stories in a very complex field of data science as I think beautifully described. I think, the way, I have heard Tarun earlier in past as well. I think his passion comes out in very simple way of explaining things as well, I think. But that's one part, but the vision with which I think he growing his company, and as he said, STPI had played some role in supporting entrepreneurs like Tarun, and I think we are very, very proud of that association with his company. But I think your vision about serving the next billion, population of the world with the, the whole digitization of the food. I think this is a massive concept, right? I think massive concept. And as you rightly said, now Agnex is one of the success stories which has seen the problems from coming out of India, but the problems which required solution, but the solution is world class. I think all the best, Taran, from our end, definitely. And I think you're doing a wonderful job. So Taran, thanks again. I think you are, on road right now, I understand. So I think, that again shows your commitment towards, your this technology and this particular forum as well. Thank you, Taran.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So now with this, I think, I also have Dr. Omkar Rai, Director General STPI. I requested him to come, live towards the last section of our show today. But before we go to our last section in terms of facilitating our good showcases, I would now request Dr. Dhirendra Kumar to take us through today's showcase, and also vote of thanks to our speakers. So over to you, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar.
Thank you, sir. First, I would like to show the videos of different startups. So first, I'm going to, I would like to call RT Breno. RT Breno is started by the founder, Mr. Kumar Sindhu Rakshit, and he is having, I have gone through this his video. Definitely, he did a very nice work. T2IT is the end-to-end cloud-based secure IoT platform to facilitate appliance marker convert their existing appliance to a smart application and develop new smart application with ease. It comprises of embedded network module to make appliance switches, lighting, etc. Smartly, and internet with tailored application development and secure the cloud service. So I would request the team members to please play the video of RT Breno, please.
Our vision, applied machine intelligence for everyone. Our mission, we are at the mission to create the best of the breed product supplying machine intelligence. Our products, thanks to the Internet of Things, T2IoT, the smart, secure and reliable IoT platform for appliance manufacturers, and Industry 4.0. Wi-Fi smart switch powered by RT Breno's T2IoT platform allows you to control switching appliances from anywhere through mobile app and smart speakers like Alexa, with intelligent scheduling features for convenience and ease of use. Wi-Fi Smart IR Blaster powered by RT Breno's T2IoT platform and IR Bridge allows you to control legacy appliances with conventional ear remote from anywhere through mobile app and smart speakers like Alexa, with intelligent scheduling features for convenience and ease of use. RT Breno, applied machine intelligence. T2IoT, smart IoT platform for appliance manufacturers. Artibrano Smart IoT platform is designed to solve 3 strategic obstacles for appliance manufacturers offering high-tech solutions: the hardware design, smart cloud connectivity, and OEM development. First of all, we support a number of modules with embedded software for networking using various technologies including Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, LoRa, 3G/4G, EarBridge, which can be embedded in all kind of products. Secondly, Artibrano, the smart, secure, and reliable platform provides real-time connectivity and APIs to monitor and control appliances through the internet from anywhere, anytime. This is designed using highly scalable architecture and banking-grade encryption technologies to ensure data security. Thirdly, our customizable mobile app allows customers to customize look and feel of GUI with branding support without any coding, reducing timelines and cost to launch smart appliances. In addition, we also offer OEM development services to meet customers' needs. Finally, Artibrano Smart IoT platform offers others essential features like customer management, analytic, integration with smart speakers like Alexa to ensure omnichannel access and control of variety of appliances. To know how our customers are using Artibrano T2 IoT platform and to discuss how we can IoT in your IoT adaptation journey and a free demo of the platform, just drop us a note at contact@artibrano.com.
Yeah, thank you. Next, we are going to see the innovation by Cancity Agro 2.0. It is founded by Mr. Yash Vyas. It is IoT-based product wherein one can grow the fresh, healthy herbs, veggies, etc. In their home. So I request the team to show the videos. Yeah, thank you. Next one is a very good video. Next Leap Aeronautics, founded by Mr. Elvin Anthony. Innovate and advance the aeronautics industry to enable safe, affordable, and sustainable air transportation solutions. I request the technical team to show, please. Yeah, good. Next innovation is from Mr. Prabhu and Ms. Savitri Patil from Refill Boat. It's an IoT platform enabling the smart refilling daily essential without plastic packaging. I request you to show the video so that we can get the things in better way. Yeah, thank you. The last one is from Mr. Nilesh Verma and Diksha Sivhare from Notebook Network Bhopal. It is IoT based product in designing. It is designed to help the Indian farmers. Agriculture based product it is. So I request you to please show the video. It measures the soil moisture, etc.
Digital technology such as the Internet of Things is driving change in agriculture. So, what is the Internet of Things and what does it mean for farmers? The Internet of Things, or IoT, refers to devices or things that are embedded with a sensor so they can measure and transmit data via a network. Devices can mean anything from pumps, sheds, and tractors to weather stations. Essentially, IoT means these physical devices can send and receive information via the internet. On farms, IoT allows devices across a farm to measure all kinds of data remotely and provide this information to the farmer in real time. IoT devices can gather information like soil moisture, chemical application, dam levels, and livestock health, as well as monitor fences, vehicles, and weather. Information generated by IoT devices allows farmers to track farm operations and performance, make better informed decisions to improve farm productivity and yield, and respond more quickly to their conditions, saving time and money. It's putting the data behind the all-important farmer gut instinct, whether that be knowing when to check on water supply to a trough, how much fertilizer to apply to a crop, and which ewe to check during lambing. IoT infrastructure is being set up in 4 trial regions to enable farmers in sheep, cropping, dairy, and horticulture to work with technology providers to investigate how IoT technology can benefit farmers. The trial will test the on-farm impact of IoT, support Victorian farms to become IoT enabled, and help place Victorian farmers at the forefront of the digital agriculture revolution.
Yeah. Before going to the vote of thanks, I request Subodh sir, please go for the declaration of the result.
Okay, thank you, thank you, Dr. Dhirendra. So basically, we come to end of our New Age Technology show, and I think one of the key things while we were, I think I would request Dr. Omkar Rai, Director General STPI, and I think Ochintya ji is also there right now as a keynote speaker. Just come online for a while. Basically, so we are concluding our New Age Technology Show 2020. We had 3 long days of having interactions around technologies of AI, machine learning, and then second day we had AR, VR track, and today I think we had a good opportunity to hear from Ochintya and rest of the industry
Yeah,
speakers, right?
I
On
also
AR,
listened
VR.
them. Mhm.
Right. So now basically, sir, there's one more activity which we had planned was, showcasing of innovations, and the innovations which we have sourced. We asked, startups as well as researchers to submit their applications. We had received 28 applications overall across the 3 categories. These 28 applications were further looked upon by our coordinators, our team, and we also wanted to see which are the best innovations, and as the plan was that each session will showcase 5 best innovations. We in fact did that. So we are proudly now in the first AI ML and data analytics category. We showcased just okay we showcased calorie wellness. No, okay. Okay. So yeah, on AI ML and this thing, we had received innovations from Calvary, GrainPad, Xenon, Shemin Labs, Liger Mobility, Revlec, Rapti, Hopper Ride, individuals like Tushar Patel, Sumitra Singh, Santhya Adhya, and Homeground. Out of that, we showcased Liger Mobility, Rapti, Shemin Labs, GrainPad, Sumitra Singh, and Xenon Distri Labs. We are the top 5 applications or showcases from this was Liger Mobility, Rapti, Shemin Labs, Ms. Sumitra Singh, and Xenon Digi Labs. So now I request Dr. Omkar Rai to announce the winner of AI, ML, and data analytics. This is just a small token of way we facilitate our innovations. So sir, I request you to announce the winner of AI, ML, and data analytics track.
Thank you, Subodh. Before I announce, I must say a few words. I mean, first of all, I must congratulate all of you for doing very hard work from my side. I'm not doing any formality. I have watched on and off, and I found it was very engaging and very continuously attentive work. And all those people who were involved, Dr. Pooja Ghosh, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar, Dr. Sanjay Burdev, and other people whom I don't know, but they all did, and some people from the background, from behind the scene, right? So first of all, it was a very great session, a great basically track, and I would congratulate all the participants, all the entries that were received. They all were so great. However, uh, you people are very knowledgeable people. You have to decide, rank people. I think Dr. Achint Sharma not only made a great address, but he has contributed a lot. So all these learned people worked together and they just ranked it based on their understanding. And based on this ranking, somehow we have to announce only one winner, but rest of them are also very big winners. They will all do great thing in their life, in their endeavor, in their offering. But for technical reason, for limitation that we have, and I understand your limitation that you have picked up one winner for each section, each category. And it's my proud privilege. I'm so honored to announce that. But I announce this with the caveat that all those entries about which the presentation has been made, they were all so great, and they will all do very great thing. So with this caveat, I announce the winner of first category, that is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics category, wherein you received 12 entries and showcased 6 of them. And it's legal mobility led by Asutosh Upadhyay is the winner. And I must congratulate Mr. Ashutosh Upadhyay and the entity Legal Mobility for winning this very recognition. It's just a promotional recognition. It doesn't bring a huge amount of money with it, but be assured that we appreciate your good work, your good offering, and the world will know about you. So congratulations, Ashutosh Upadhyay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for backing our vision, and we hope this will help us do more things in future. Thank you very much.
Now I will talk about second category. It is augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and XR. I don't know extra reality or whatever. Subodh Sachan, can you tell me?
It's extended reality. It's
extended
a
reality.
combination
Okay.
of
So this immersive visualization category had received 6, and you showcased 6 of them. And the healthy lung initiative led by Dr. Kishore Sahu is the winner, and I must congratulate Dr. Kishore Sahu and the entity Heli, and wish them all very great time ahead, a great success. So
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Dr. Kishore Sahu. You are from Triple IT?
No, sir. I am from IIT Bhubaneswar, sir.
IIT Bhubaneswar?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very nice. And the third category is IoT, an electronic system design and manufacturing section. We received 10 entries, out of which 5 were showcased. And the winner is Next Leap Aeronautics, led by Elvin Anthony. It's a very futuristic concept, very futuristic idea. And I must appreciate that Mr. Anthony and his colleagues, his team is working on in this very futuristic product. And it's a very intensive product that way. And I must congratulate you for this. And I must appreciate your courage for taking this kind of initiative and sector. And I must again say that I owe you double congratulations, because you belong to a incubator, ESDM incubator, Electropreneur Park, which is actually created by us. So very well, congratulations to you too.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the opportunity to participate. And it's a really privilege that we are able to receive this award from you. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and we really thank the
pleasure is
IISF
mine,
team.
and I'm very proud about it that I got this opportunity to announce these awards. Again, I would say that all the entries, all the people who showcased, they were all very great, right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot, and congratulations to all the winners, and basically to all those who had submitted the entries. As sir said, all are winners. So with this, over to you, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar.
Thank you, sir. It's my proud privilege to pay my gratitude on the behalf of New Age Technology team and the team of Vigyan Bharati. It's an excellent start of the program is the best sign of excellent end. And at the same time, we know the ends well, all well. तो दोनों एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं यहाँ पे. In this New Age Technology show, number of innovative talks were there, and number of startups shown their best innovative works in which they have applied the latest technology. I must be thankful to for today's keynote address, Shri Achintya Sharma-ji on IoT, who has shown the several kind of opportunities in the field, and Sri Sanjeev Keskar, CEO Arvind Consultancy, sir, definitely who has taken the all field of IoT. Professor Ramesh Longanathan from IIT Hyderabad, IIT Hyderabad, sir has shown the things excellently to all the students and to all the participants here. he has also, I mean, given the living lab and a smart city on innovative academia relationship, which you have shown is highly excellent. Dr. Satya Gupta, who has covered the semiconductor electronics actually. We are from the same field, and definitely we have enjoyed his lecture. Especially many opportunities which he has shown for the electronics engineer nowadays. It's a good thing for everyone. Dr. P. Shiv Kumar ji has shown the application of IoT and electronics engineering in the field of medical technology and healthcare sector. I must be thankful to the team leader, to you, Sachan sir. You have taken the team, in fact, with you efficiently. The hard work the complete team did. A.K. Rai sir, Dr. A.K. Rai, Dr. Pooja Ghosh from IT Delhi, and Dr. Sanjeev from CSIR. So this complete team, and Utkarsh and Sankalp is also working with us, and day and night they have put their efforts to make the program very much successful. Definitely, if I must also include the name of Taran Singh. Taran Singh has covered the things very excellently, and definitely he's a good innovator. At the last but not least, the backbone of the even Vigyan Bharti also, and STPI DG Omkara sir.
अरे थैंक यू वेरी मच, बट इतना मैं कोई बैकबोन नहीं
Definitely हम लोग आपके गाइडेंस में ही आगे का काम कर रहे हैं, and you are the leader of our daily team and the national team at the same time. तो आप लोगों का जो encouragement आप लोगों के माध्यम से मिलता है वो हमको encourage करता है. एक बहुत अच्छी चीज आज सुनने को मिली कि every startup is having some kind of struggle at the beginning. तो इसको सुन के थोड़ा सा एक प्लेजर फील हुआ कि because I am working with my own venture, that is BLD engineering academic institutes. So definitely those things are there with the startups. So with this, I must be thankful to all the participants and all the organizers and our experts, today's experts, and experts of day first and day second at the same time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think thank you everyone. Achintya ji, namaskar. Sir, namaskar. Thank you to my team, and thank you to also the ISF Secretariat. I think they gave us opportunity to present this event. So great. Okay. I think for the audience, be connected for the next year. I think we'll have a much bigger and much better version of NATS 2021 if we are given an opportunity, and even if we're not, we'll contribute to that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.
Namaskar.